I've been helping people turn their skills into profit for the past 4 years now. I've worked with thousands of individuals and I've generated well over $1 million in student verified revenue. And time again, I talk about the skill to profit framework, a framework that allows you to learn a high income skill and turn that high income skill into a profitable online business. And I've broken down this framework plenty of times, explained the different components and how they work and how they come together to help you turn your skills into a business. But not once have I posted a video explaining every single step of the process all together and creating one masterclass piece of content to help you learn the skill to profit framework. And that is until now, because this video that you're about to watch is an exclusive paid masterclass that I did with people in kind of like a webinar format where I broke down the entire skill to profit framework in excruciating detail. So buckle in, grab a pen and paper, put your phone on silent for the next hour or so, and I promise you'll walk away with $10,000 worth of value. Enjoy. Hello, hello. How are we doing, people? God, you guys are joining in rapid. Amazing, guys. We're gonna give it a few minutes, let some more people jump in, and then we can get cracking. Like I said, this one's gonna be fantastic because I've done these webinars a few times now, where I kind of like present something, I teach you how to go through the basics of monetizing your skill, but it's always a case of where I have to like convince you that it works, right? I have to be like, you have to do this, and when you do this, this will happen. But what we're going to be going through in today's class, there's no convincing necessary because I'm just teaching you how someone did it, literally step by step by step. We're going to go through Marcus's entire process, how we started, how we got to the point of where we're at now. He ended up making $10,000 and like $10,060 in 71 days, and now was way on track to make over $15,000 within the 90 days, which is sick. We can see it. Perfect. So welcome to the Skill to Profit free live event where I'm going to show you how Marcus speedran from $0 to $10,061 in just 71 days using the Skill to Profit framework. Let's dive in. This is exciting stuff. So just to get a quick read on the room, how many of you have been following and have seen my previous speedruns? Just to get an idea. Cool, amazing. Well, for those of you that don't know, in May last year, I set myself a challenge. For months, I've been working on something behind the scenes, right? And putting all of my time and effort into a program that would allow anyone who either had a high income skill or wanted to learn one to turn it into a cash flowing service-based business and hit $10,000 per month. That was the entire goal. I did 2 small cohorts with people who've shown interest within this idea, right? I was talking about like the whole concept and I was like, your skills are valuable, you can turn them into a business. And I wanted to test it because I didn't know if I was talking based on my own perspective or based on the perspective of what everyone else could achieve. So I ran cohorts, which is like small group of people. I trained them quite intensely and I was like, I'm going to teach you how to get to this point. It was like $500 a piece, super, super small, super tight knit, because I wanted to test whether this framework I had in my head would actually work for people. And the results from these cohorts gave me all of the answers that I needed to know. This is Charlie on the left, he was from the cohort. Samuel on the right, he was also from the cohort. The Skill to Profit framework did work, even with complete beginners who had no prior experience. And people started getting results just 3 weeks after being within the cohort. But in order to put it to the ultimate test, I needed to do something big to prove that it wasn't just theory, but a proven, repeatable system. So I did a series on my Instagram documenting myself speedrunning from $0 to $10,000 as fast as I possibly could. And this was just over a year ago now, with a brand new skill I had never provided before, which was community building. And I wasn't allowed to use my personal brand, my network, my existing business names, none of that. I had to start from complete scratch. So I picked a skill that I knew was valuable. I picked a market that needed the skill that I had to offer and the money to afford it. And after 37 days of outreaching every day, countless no's and a bunch of sales calls, I hit the $10,000 generated mark. Now, I'm not going to lie to you and tell you that this was an average result. $10,000 in 37 days with a new skill was something I was incredibly proud of. I didn't think I'd be able to achieve that, but it proved my point. The Skill to Profit framework works. I then went to launch the Skill to Profit Inner Circle, which some of you in this chat are actually in. Good to have you here. A coaching program where I help people use the exact framework I use to build my business to turn their own skills into a $10,000 per month business. And the results were pretty good, but I won't just tell you, I'll show you. This is Andre. He's a consultant from Denmark, I believe. He was working a corporate job before working with us and almost effortlessly closed 57K in contract value. Ned, he does AI automation from the UK, right? He went from struggling to close 9K retainers, now makes over 15K per month with AI automation. Anya, she's a marketer. She started off as a freelancer and after joining us, used the exact same skill, but makes over 11K per month with it. Liam uses web design from the UK, makes over 5K a month. Charlie with copywriting makes over £10,000 per month, like $13,000. Rhino, he does growth in AI services, and he signed over 20K worth of deals in 3 months. But even after posting these results all over my Instagram and my YouTube, people were still unsure if the Skill to Profit framework actually works. Even after the speedrun, even after showing that it works with all of these people from all over the world, with all different skills in different markets, with different backgrounds, and even after documenting my journey from a broke social media manager to a $2 million business at 22 years old, apparently that wasn't enough. So I felt like I had a point to prove. So I ran the speed run back again on January the 1st of this year. I let my audience pick the skill for me, which at the time was AI chatbots. I documented all 12 episodes for everyone to see on my Instagram. And once again, using the Skill to Profit framework, I hit the $10,000 generated mark in 56 days this time, which again, even I am still incredibly proud of doing at the time. And even after doing all of that, I still had people saying, you have business experience. It isn't fair if you do it. Would this really work for a beginner though? And you know what? They were right. I do have experience and it is unfair if I do it. And I knew that if I really wanted to leave no stone unturned, I would have to take a big risk. And I would have to take someone at random and get them to complete the speed run instead of me doing it. So I put out across my social media platforms that I was looking to pick a follower at random and help them use a Skill to Profit framework to speedrun from absolutely nothing to over $10,000 per month. And I put out this post, as you can see, on the 16th of June, with the goal of doing it within 90 days from where we started. And after over 2,000 applications, multiple late nights watching videos and reviewing applications, and trust me, this was a massive pain in the ass, I narrowed it down to just a few people. And I ended up choosing the man you're about to meet right now, Marcus Cobley. Marcus wanted to monetize the skill of copywriting and had a bit of experience working with clients in the past, but nothing that he really succeeded with. But the problem was that he was trying to follow a business model, which was the growth operating model. And he actually spent thousands of dollars on a course to do this, but didn't quite seem to click for him, which was the big reasons Marcus was interested in joining the Skill to Profit framework. He knew that he had a skill. He had seen people make money with the skill, so he knew it was possible. But there was a problem with the way that he was trying to monetize it. He didn't know whether to go with VSLs, ad copy, webinars. In fact, he was trying to do all of them. But rather than me sitting here and telling you all about Marcus's story, it makes more sense for you to hear it from the man himself. Marcus, reveal yourself. He's on the webinar. Right, you're muted. There he is. You're muted at the moment. He's been hiding. Just get you to unmute. And you should.
There we go. Can you see me and hear me all right?
I can't. There we go. We got you.
Yeah, nice. How's it going, man?
Very good. Thank you. Welcome to the big stage. I know this is a little bit intimidating, but I'm sure everyone on the other side is absolutely lovely.
Yeah, no, I'm really excited for it. You know, I'm really
Marcus
excited.
is a legend.
Yeah,
me too, man. Me too. Amazing. I'll let you take it away.
Nice, man.
If you like. Let me stop sharing my side and you can go for it. Let me take that off. Amazing, man. Are you on?
Yep, you should be able to see. Can everyone see my screen now?
Yeah, got you.
All right. So, you know, as Callum said, thanks for the amazing introduction as well, Callum. My name's Marcus. And I thought instead of just sitting in the background, it might be useful for me to come on here and just, you know, tell you a bit about my story, where I started. And, you know, based on the people that I've already spoken to inside of the program, it seems like all of our starting points here are really, really similar. I'm 19. I live near Manchester. And I stumbled across the online space when I was around 17, 16-ish, all because I saw one Hamza video come up on my YouTube recommendations, and he was saying that you need to build a 10K a month business. And before I knew it, I was joining school communities. I was watching a bunch of other people's videos on topics like the best business model to start. And this was back in like 2023. And I did want to start a business like everyone else was. And I liked the kind of idea of making 10K a month online like everyone was talking about. But, you know, all the videos, they were just kind of vague. Everyone was just saying how easy it was. Just do this one thing and bang, right? You'll make 10K a month in like 3 months' time. When I actually sat down at my laptop, and excuse my language, I had no fucking idea what I actually needed to do. Not even the first step I needed to take. Everyone just talked about the untapped methods, the new opportunities, but I genuinely just didn't understand what to actually do. So instead of just sitting around, you know, I knew it was better that I tried something. I started learning from like the free YouTube courses and videos that I told you about before. I tried drop shipping because, you know, a bunch of people in Hamza's school were talking about it. I watched all the free videos. I made a Shopify account and I started to get to work on it. And I spent maybe a week or so doing all the fun stuff like creating the logos, the brand names, doing the websites, things like that. But, you know, when that was all done and when it actually got to doing the hard work and to doing the things that would actually make the money, I hated every single second of it. And instead of sticking through the hard bits like I probably should have and learning the business model and actually getting better at that thing, I decided dropshipping just wasn't going to be the model for me. It felt too complicated and I didn't want to really risk testing a bunch of different products if I didn't really know how to sell them. But I still wanted to build a business, still wanted to make 10K a month online. So I went back to the drawing board. I started searching for the next best business model to start. I flirted with trading, but then I realized that 90% of it was just scams. I attempted SMA from Gadzi. I did that for a few weeks, but I just could not sign any clients. And I even tried running my brother's TikTok account to try and get customers for his local business. And that didn't work either. Now, long story short, I tried a bunch of random things and nothing was working. Like none of it was working. And could have it worked if, I tried a bit harder, put even more effort in? Probably. But did I want to make them work? No. None of them felt natural to me. And everything I felt like I was doing was it just constantly felt like an uphill battle. I felt like I was forcing myself into business models that just didn't suit me. They weren't really for me. Except there was this one thing that I actually did enjoy, which did kind of interest me, that I knew that I could probably monetize in a bunch of different ways. I'd seen other people doing it, and I was kind of interested in it. And that was copywriting, the skill of copywriting. So I started to teach myself it. I started to, learn how to write emails, ads, landing pages, VSLs, content, all just by watching like free YouTube videos, podcasts, reading books, that kind of thing. And it was a good idea at first. But I made the mistake of trying to do all of these different things for my clients by starting what was being branded at the time as an info product agency or like a growth operating model. And that was a bad idea. I spent all of the money I had on a popular program and I was spending hours every single day just sending outreach. And I couldn't really stand out because my service wasn't unique because it had just been given to me by somebody else. And everyone else in the program I was in with were just pitching the same thing to the same people. We're all trying to write VSL scripts for coaches, right? The exact same thing. And I did this for months and months and months. I was sending looms every day. I was sending videos, but nothing was working. And I actually did sign like 1 or 2 clients, but they all churned pretty quickly. And by the end of it, I looked back and I realized that I had been trying to start a business now for 2 years. I started at 17 and I was just about to turn 19. And I still, after all that time, even though everyone promised it would go really well, had nothing to show for it. No money, no clients, no results. And at this point, I genuinely thought I wasn't cut out for business. Now, I hear people say this all the time. They say, oh yeah, I felt like giving up. But genuinely, I did not believe in myself anymore. So much so, I actually made a deal with my dad that if I didn't start making money, I would get a job or I'd go to uni pretty soon. Right? Not in the next year, not in the next 6 months, not even in the next 3 months. But before that, in the next 3 months' time, and before the school year even started, which would have been around September, so I would have had to go to uni, would have had to get a job literally this month. And that very same week, I was at my girlfriend's house scrolling through my Instagram reels, and Callum's announcement video came up on my feed. And I didn't even think about that twice about it. I just went downstairs straight away. I set up my laptop on a book stand in my girlfriend's kitchen, and I started recording a video to explain to Callum why I thought that I would be the perfect fit for his speed run. And when I tell you that this was my last roll of the dice, I mean it was genuinely my last roll of the dice. I had no idea if I'd even get shortlisted, never mind chosen to actually be in the speed run. But fortunately, obviously, as we all know now, should I say, I was chosen. And even then, I wasn't sure if it was even going to be possible. How was I going to make 10K in 90 days if I hadn't even made 10K in the past 2 years? But here we are, 71 days later, and I finally have something to show for it. All the hard work I put in for all of that time, I've now got a 10K a month business. And I guess, for the next hour or so, me and Callum are going to be on here. I'm going to show you exactly how we did it step by step. So with that being said, I guess I'll hand you guys back to Callum.
Amazing. Appreciate it, Marcus. No, that is, what I love about your story is that it's nothing special. I feel like so many people can relate to it. But guys, we're going to keep Marcus kind of in the room for now. I'm going to do most of the training, and then Marcus will pop out at the end and just do like a massive Q&A. So you guys can ask him questions firsthand, where you can ask him about his journey, specific situations, scenarios, whatever it may be. But I want to dive into the actual juicy bits, the parts of the training that we all, of course, want to go through. So let me chuck this up. Cool. We should be live again. Amazing. So This that you can see on screen is what we documented. Marcus documented almost every single day some kind of video shown for his going through the process of how he actually did it and how we did it. And there's a lot that we have to show you guys. So by the end of this class, you will know how to identify your high income skill, your market, build a no-brainer offer that makes sales easy and get complete strangers to want to pay you money, how to let the world know who you are as quickly as possible with outreach, strategies, and content, how to get deals across the line and hit the 10K mark as fast as possible, and how we used all of these principles to reach the 10K mark with Marcus in just 71 days with a breakdown of exactly how we did it. Cool. And on top of all of that, me and Marcus will be leading an open Q&A at the end, as well as revealing a few surprises we've been working on, but more on that later. So now I'm not going to sit here in front of you and tell you that you're going to hit 10K in 71 days like Marcus did. You might do it quicker, you might do it slower, who knows? And I'm not focused on timeframes, and neither should you be. I'm interested in laying the foundations for a business that will make you money for years and years to come, which is exactly what we have been able to do with dozens of others inside the program. It doesn't matter if you're a student, you work a job, you don't think that you have a skill because you do, you don't have a skill but you want to learn more quickly, you already run a business and you want to refine your offer or market or position your skills better, age, gender, location, experience, equipment, background, it does not matter. And that's the beauty about the Skill to Profit framework. You're not following a business model here. I'm not copying and pasting a business plan and saying, just do what I did because that's exactly how it works. I'm giving you a framework, and then you can customize a framework to your expertise, what you're good at, your passions, your uniqueness. Most business models are a square and you are a circle. And no matter how hard you try and force a square into a circle, it's never going to work. Whereas with the Skill to Profit framework, the very thing that can make you feel stuck, not knowing what to do with your skills or which direction to go in, is actually your greatest advantage. Because while everyone else is following trendy business models that will be gone in 7 months' time, you have the unique opportunity to build something that is aligned and tailored with your specific strengths, not somebody else's. So the Skill to Profit advantage, some others can't just copy because nobody else has been you. Nobody else has your experience, your unique skill set, and your knowledge. So without further ado, this call is not going to be recorded or shared anywhere else. I won't repurpose this for training or for a lead magnet on YouTube. It is built for you right here, right now. This is the finale and the result of over 500 gigabytes of recording footage and over 71 days of hard work on Marcus's end. Bear in mind, I know this for a fact. I've jumped on a call with Marcus almost every single day since we started. So this is not a whim. This is not a fluke. So make the most of it, because it might just be exactly what you're looking for and so much more. And Marcus and I will be doing a full interactive Q&A and answering all of your questions at the end of the call, as well as sharing something special with those of you that stay till the end that we put together. But like I said, more on that later. So if you've got questions, save them, write them all down, and we'll go through them all at the end. And see if we answer it in the training. We'll revisit any you have left for the end of the call. Sound good? Cool. Who's ready to see how we did this? Who's excited? Let's get some me's in the chat. Beautiful. Let's dive in. So let's start from the beginning. So the first thing we did, like I've done with every other person that comes inside the Skill to Profit program, was build out the absolute bare bone fundamentals. Okay. Most people spend way too long procrastinating over this stuff. And although it's important, this is quote for quote fun stuff. And we knew that if we wanted to hit that 10K mark in 90 days, we needed to get this locked in as quickly as possible so that we could crack on with the most important stuff that's actually going to generate results. So all we did for the first 2 to 3 days was look at Marcus's experience, what he was interested in, and where he had his advantage. And from there, we settled on his skill, his market, and built his offer. It only took a few days. Now, usually in these live classes, I go far more into detail on these things, but I genuinely have dozens of videos, both on Instagram and YouTube, about how you can build these things for yourself in your own time. And I want to keep this whole class as actionable and as valuable as possible for now. But I'll briefly break down the process, what it actually looked like during the speedrun. So how do we do this? We looked at what interested Marcus, which, like he mentioned earlier, was copywriting, which was perfect. That was just a knack that he had, an interest that he had. But in order to make money, we needed a high income skill that made people more money than they pay us, right? Which means it's income producing. And it must also solve a problem. Copywriting makes people more money. It also solves a problem because bad copywriting can ruin a business's reputation. It can affect the quality of clients they get, and it can impact how many clients they sign. So that box was checked off quickly. He had a skill that produced a result and made someone else money. Golden. We then moved and looked at what markets needed the skill of copywriting, which is actually every market. So we narrowed it down and focused on markets that Marcus had a knowledge of already, right? Using his unfair advantage. And after some brainstorming, we went for coaches and consultants, as Marcus had been part of a coaching program before, so he knew how these businesses typically work. He'd been inside. which means he had been a customer, which means that you had a good understanding of what actually got him in the first place and the copywriting side of things. And then we needed to find a way to package that skill up into an offer that got this market the biggest possible results, that we could justify charging a nice setup fee. It could demonstrate a return on investment on it. Okay, I know we're going over some reasonably high level stuff here, but you guys need to stay like locked in and focus on this. We discussed doing ads for them. We discussed other potential avenues we could explore using the skill of copywriting, but we went for an offer that could make this target market a lot of money and had been proven to work time and time again, which was building webinars and live events for them. That was the whole idea. This also allowed marketers not only to charge an upfront fee, but a percentage of the money that the webinar made them. So his earning potential per client was uncapped and unlimited. That's what you're going for. Because if the only amount of money that you can make for a client is how much you charge them to set everything up, you're limited. But if you can make more money based on the result that you produce them, that is completely unlimited. You just got to get better at your service and your skill. And it was genuinely as simple as that. I know so many of you will sit there for days, even weeks in some cases, stressing about whether you have the right market, the right skill, or the right offer. But this is the equivalent of Marcus doing all of the fun stuff when he built his dropshipping store, but neglecting the things that he actually needed to do to make money. So sit down and reflect on the following. What do you enjoy doing and interests you more than most people? What do you have experience doing and you know that you can do well? Maybe this is from a job or something you've studied. What is something that's proven to work that interests you that you can learn? Screenshot that real quick if you get the chance. These are the only things you need to be focusing on in order to find your skill, your market, and your offer. Okay? Then once you have that, research who needs that skill and which markets have enough money to pay you for that skill. And finally, once you have that, package it up into an offer where you can find the best use of your skill and can clearly demonstrate it to them with a statement. Okay? And the way in which we put together a statement is actually your elevator pitch, your offer. So this is basically it. This is the basic kind of framework of it, the skeletons of it. It's we help a niche being who you're working with, achieve result, the result being what you're trying to help them achieve. The time frame it's going to take you to do that, 60 days, 90 days, 6 months, whatever it is. Unique mechanism being your service, what's unique about your service. And then without pain is like, what pain are you solving for them? You know? This was Marcus's offer. This is how he packaged up his skill, his market, and what he wanted to do into a sentence. It was, we build coaches and consultants, a profitable A to Z webinar engine that nurtures and converts your audience into high-paying clients. He had the niche, he had the result, he had a unique mechanism, and he had the without. Well, he didn't have the without in this one. He didn't really need it, actually. But he had the result. He focused heavily on the result. We need all three things dialed in. If you have a high-income skill and a market that needs it, but you can't communicate that into an offer, you'll struggle to get prospects' attention and to get them on the phone. If you identify a good market, but you don't have a high-income skill, then you won't be able to get the clients the results and will struggle to actually do the work for them. And if you have a high-income skill, but your market doesn't need it or have any money to pay you, then you'll end up signing people who see it as a nice to have and won't pay you what it's actually worth. You need all three things in place to actually go out there into the markets and sign a client. Skill, market, offer. And it's not just this whole skill to profit framework. Every single business ever is built on this. Every business. Whether I look at, I've got a pen from Sharpie here. They built it on this as well. The skill is manufacturing this. The market is who needs this. The offer is what this will do. Every single business using the same framework. We're just using it a bit more tailored, a bit more bespokely. So do we now understand what a high income skill is and why it's the foundation of every online business? Do we now understand that the market you choose determines the value of your skill and how much you get paid? Do we now understand how to turn this into an offer that you can then present to the market? And again, I did skip over this stuff, guys, because I've gone over this 10 million times. So I can also point you towards some resources at the end of where you can dive into the thick of this. But I want to talk about Marcus's journey here and how we did it, because that's what you're here for. That's what's most important. And most importantly, do you all understand that this should not take you that long? It's like picking a business name. You know, I've worked with so many people where I'm like, pick a name for your business, and they don't pick a name for weeks. And they come back to me weeks later and like, I can't think of one. That's the same idea. You are halting your own progress because you're not focusing on getting over the fundamentals and then scaling on to the next things. And that most people procrastinate on this for weeks because they are avoiding doing the actual work. Good, because now we can start to move on to the things that actually matter. You've got your skill, your market, and your offer. Super simple stuff. Now we can focus on outreach, sales, and service delivery, which is also the thing that most people tend to avoid. But the reason Marcus was able to hit that 10K mark in 71 days is because instead of avoiding these two things, we ruthlessly attacked them every single day. And this was our main focus for 80% of the time. Even on the busy days and even on the days where Marcus didn't want to, he was hammering content and outreach, because it's one thing to have your skill, marketing offer all ready to go, but it's another thing to actually sit there and let the world know that you have this amazing thing that you can help them with. Plus, you won't really know how well your offer performs until you actually get it out there, get the feedback from people and how they respond to it, and then improve it. So, content and outreach. A lot of you are here for this. Let me just take a sip of water because I'm going to pass out. Cool. Content and outreach. Why is it even important in the first place? Well, I hope I don't need to explain to you why content and outreach are important, but in the case that you've been avoiding doing your content or your outreach, let me remind you. If you want to make money land in your bank account, you need to close a client. And in order to close a client, you need to get them on the phone first. And if in order to get them on the phone first, you need to have a conversation with them to arrange a meeting. And in order to arrange a meeting with them, you need to spark a conversation. And in order to spark a conversation, you need to either get them to message you from content, where you put out content, they love it and they reach out to you, or you need to message them through outreach, okay? In the beginning, one isn't really going to sign you clients without the other. Yes, you can have a bunch of results. You can get people coming to you from content consistently, but until then, you need to do what every entrepreneur has to do at the start and put their ego and pride to the side. Like Hormozi says, if you have no money, you should have no shame. Knock, call, email, DM, ask. Life-changing doors don't open themselves. And that's the same principle of outreach. And force your market to learn who you are and what you can do for them. And we can do this simultaneously with content and outreach at the same time. And I'll show you why it's non-negotiable that you're doing both. Let's say that you have the best outreach in the world and you wake up in the morning and do nothing other than eat, go to the toilet and send messages all day. You can send all the messages you like, but the first thing that somebody does when you try and send them a message is they go to your profile, right? It's logical. It makes sense, especially if you're doing things like Instagram outreach. And take one quick glance at it, and this will likely decide whether they even watch the video or not. And if you don't have something on your page talking about your skill or about your service, they won't even read your message out and they'll delete it before you even have a chance. Can I just say, I do this all the time. I'm the person that gets these messages. And if I look at the person's profile and it is dead, I'm not going to look at their message because I have no context there. There's no credibility for them. The same goes for you if you're only posting content and not doing any outreach. Content is a slow burner and accumulates over time. It's not something that you start doing and immediately see direct results from. The chances of you posting a video every day for 71 days and closing $10,000 worth of deals are very slim. Not impossible, but slim. But when you combine both, like Marcus did, you can hit the 10K mark just like we proved. And we know for the speed run that if we were going to hit the 10K mark in 90 days, we would need to be aggressive with both content and with our outreach. Content to build up the page and position Marcus as an authority that people want to learn from, and outreach, both automated en masse and personalized, so we could start booking calls as quickly as possible. So what kind of content did Marcus make and what kind of outreach was Marcus doing? Let's start with the content and specifically short form content. As you can see, Marcus's content wasn't highly edited. It wasn't high production value. He sat at his desk in his bedroom with nothing but a laptop and a decent microphone and a document demonstrating his expertise of webinar funnels, the service that he wanted to sell. The main principle here is that you can see that he knows what he's talking about when it comes to a service, right? If you know what he's talking about, you can say, okay, cool, this guy knows his stuff. If I receive an outreach message from Marcus, I'd very clearly be able to see what he does from his bio, as opposed to if his profile was vague, private, and all of the bio stuff was unclear. On top of that, I'd be able to watch all of the videos on his page, right? And although this isn't directly trackable, it plays a massive factor in how many people will engage with your message. And then if in your case, this doesn't have to just be video content either. If you really, really, really do not want to film yourself, you could be posting on LinkedIn, Twitter, static posts on Instagram. It doesn't matter how you do it. It just matters that it's there. Marcus posted 23 videos in a 71-day period, which is roughly a video every 3 days. And the videos are less than 90 seconds long. And including filming, creating the document, editing and posting, that's around 30 minutes 3 times a week. Just an hour and a half a week of content creation could be the difference between signing a client and not. And we know for a fact because Marcus's first client of the speed run came because of content. A student inside my inner circle had been following Marcus on Instagram and knew someone who was looking to start doing webinars. So what did he do? He messaged Marcus. Marcus got on a call and closed the deal the very next day, simply because people were aware of the service he was providing. So how can you follow this process to sign clients to make content of your own? Creating content systems. Now, the first thing is something I used to have to talk to a lot of people about all the time and do far too often. It's a fear of posting because of what others will think. Everyone has people in their life, whether it be friends, family, colleagues, who think that they will judge them for making content, and it stops them from doing it in the first place. And you know what? I get it. I was the same. So was Marcus. So was everybody else who has ever posted ever. But I say this with all due respect. You simply need to get over it. All of you are here because you want to be successful. If you're going to let someone else's opinion deter you from being successful, that's on your head. And that's something you need to get over. In the short term, yes, it might feel embarrassing and your videos might be bad and people might judge you for it. And you'll probably look back on them in a year's time and cringe when you watch them. I do to this day. But who fucking cares? Who actually cares? Over the long term, everyone forgets. And I guarantee you that after a year of posting content, the people who took the mickey out of you for when you started are probably not the people who you want to be with in the future anyway. That said, the question is, what content should you actually make? Now, I'm not going to tell you there is one best way to do this. Every market requires a slightly different approach, right? However, the most consistent strategy that works for beginners, after coaching hundreds of them, is making content that is just focused solely on your target audience and creating value-driven content that they would want to see. You can make breakdown videos of other people in the market, just like Marcus did. You can talk about how your service works and why it's effective. You can call out your problems within your market that your market's having and bridge it into why your service can solve it. Marcus did this fantastically well with webinars. Webinars helps people sell more. You guys are on a webinar right now, right? So Marcus spoke about the pain points that coaches would have that webinar solves. That gets them hooked in. Then they're interested in the service. Keep it value focused, not virality focused, because views don't equal money. All focus on value. Now, Marcus signed his first client with less than 10K total views on his webinar videos, less than 10,000 people. And if you do this at the same cadence of Marcus, just one video every 3 days, that's 10 videos a month. And over time, they will build up until your page is full of undeniable proof that you are actually an expert in your skill and in your service. And from there, everything becomes 10 times easier because each video will compound. The difference between videos 1 to 5 and videos 100 to 105 will be vast in terms of views and the quality of clients that you can attract with them. Now, let's talk outreach. I haven't been in the outreach game for a while now. Okay, I'll admit it. I haven't run a service-based business for about a year. So we brought in someone who loves outreach more than anyone I've ever met in my entire life and helps business owners get results of outreach every single day. This is Ollie Sleep. He's a coach of Inside the Inner Circle. We knew that if we wanted to hit that 10K mark in 90 days, we needed to combine high volumes of automated outreach with hyper-targeting sniper-like personalized outreach. Again, so we were omnipresent, meaning we were everywhere, and not just with our content, but we were everywhere with our outreach as well. So in order for him to put the least amount of effort in and get the most return out of it, he needed to automate as much of the process as he could, which meant using softwares like Instantly, Panda Match, SimilarTube to scrape big lists of leads in target market. And these tools aren't hidden. You can just search them up and you can find them very easily. The idea is that we used automation so that he wasn't sending out every single message individually. We then built out his outreach scripts using Ollie's proven methods that have been battle tested across hundreds of businesses and plugged them into a software, being Instantly, that would send them out automatically for him every single day, leaving him with more time on his hands to then go and send more personalized outreach so that we got the best of both worlds. Now, for personalized outreach, because the market we chose is quite competitive, coaches and consultants get bombarded every day. Trust me, I know. We needed to switch up our approach from typical cut and paste messages that most people in this market lead with to something that would build trust and get their attention at the same time, which is why Marcus used a permission-based Loom method, where Marcus would send out a unique video to every single person he found, introducing himself, his offer, and explaining that he would love to show them a Loom video, going through a bespoke strategy of how he would make them tens of thousands of dollars through his service. We focused on sending 30 of these personalized Looms a day. This was over Instagram, while we had automated outreach running in the background. So he did this manually by recording selfie videos and being like, this is who I am, this is what I do. I would love to send you a video explaining my service and how it can achieve this thing for you. Are you interested? Some days he did more, some days he did less. But every day Marcus showed up and did his outreach, which was one thing that people honestly can't say that they do. So that's how we approached our content and our outreach during the speedrun. Again, just to recap, with the content, it was consistent. It was value focused, value based, talking directly to the person that he wanted to buy his service. No fluff, no, oh, here's my lifestyle. I woke up early today, I ate protein. None of that shit. Value focused content, talking directly to his target market. With outreach, he had automated stuff running in the background, and on top of that, he did a bunch of personalized manual outreach for Instagram. And again, this only took us 4 to 5 days or so to build. So around 2 weeks in, we had this: his skill, his market, his offer, his website, his VSL, being a virtual sales letter, like on his website, his Calendly setup, content systems, automated outreach systems, personalized outreach systems, all nailed down, all just within 2 weeks. This is the kind of stuff that takes people months and months and months fussing over, which shows the power of having a time frame and goals. But how can you actually use this to build your own outreach systems? There is no concrete answer. It will depend on a range of different factors, but the main question you have to ask yourself is, where is my market most likely to be reachable? And you can use either cold DMs, cold emails, cold calling, paid advertising, use your existing network. All of the people who are successfully signing clients inside of the inner circle are using content combined with one of the 5 strategies above to do so. Marcus focused on content, cold emails, and DMs because he couldn't call his market. He didn't run any paid ads because he wasn't at that level. He didn't have a network of people to use. So you pick out of those what you're going to be able to use to your advantage. And depending on where your market exists, the method of reaching them will differ. If they are a more traditional business owner, you may find them on LinkedIn. If they are a creator entrepreneur, find them on Instagram. If they are a local business, find their numbers on emails or Yelp or Google. Just like with content, it doesn't matter how much in the beginning. It doesn't matter so much in the beginning how you are doing it, because the how will come with time and feedback. It matters much more that it's actually just being done. Sending a few messages or making a few cold calls never killed anyone. So, are you clear on why you need to be doing content and outreach at the same time to sign clients? Are we happy with the omnipresence approach coming together and giving you the best awareness that you possibly can? I see thumbs up, beautiful. Do you understand that these are both absolute non-negotiables, even if you don't feel like doing them? Yeah? And are you on the same page with me about using different outreach methods depending on where your market exists? Good, I'm glad, because that is a part that most people neglect, and that's why they never see results. So let's talk about the power of content and outreach. You could take almost any business, including yours, whether you've started it or not, and if you posted 100 pieces of content and made 30 personalized outreaches a day over the next 90 days, you would sign your first client or your next client almost guaranteed. I guarantee you that. I'll put money behind that. But that's another beast in itself. How do you actually get a client to send you money to your bank account? And how did Marcus actually get the deal across the line with not just one, but 2 clients in 71 days? That's £7,400, which is like $10,060. This all came down to a couple of things. Our pricing strategy, which in this case was payment up front, right? A setup fee to set up all the systems and then revenue share on the back. Our flexibility, which was doing what was necessary to get the deal across the line as a beginner. So first, let's talk about pricing. The first rule of pricing is to not overthink it. You should have a rough idea of how much money your service can generate. And if you don't, run through some rough calculations and do some research on typical figures of your service and typical prices of goods or services sold in your market. Very easy to do. For example, if you offer AI chatbots as a service and it can book a company an extra 30 appointments a month and they close 30% of the deals on average at $500, that's an extra $5,000 a month that you can make them. So it would be more than fair enough for them to then go pay you $2,000 as a setup fee for it one time with a potential revenue percentage on the back end. But there are a number of ways that you can make money providing your service depending on what you're offering and what market you choose. You can charge a setup fee, a monthly retainer for ongoing services, a setup fee and a retainer, setup fee and commission-based, 100% commission-based, setup fee and monthly retainer and commission-based. You can't charge based on the ad spend or the size of company. What I'm trying to say here is that there are unlimited ways. You've got to pick the way that suits you best. I would always personally go with a setup fee and a retainer or commission-based, depending on what your service is. When you are first starting out, you may find yourself doing commission-based work to secure your first few case studies, where it's 100% on results. That's absolutely fine and can actually be lucrative money if you want to make them, if you can make them a lot of money and you get a slice of the pie. You might be able to charge money up front straight off the bat. But the whole goal when you start is getting clients, getting results, posting those results online, signing more people based on those results, and then charging more. It's a flywheel. Once you get started, it starts to run itself. Your pricing will mostly depend on your service, but I always like setup fees and monthly retainers or commission-based. Your main goal should be to have the highest LTV of a customer that you possibly can. That meaning lifetime value, which means you can squeeze more money out of one customer as per to every single customer just being worth $1,000 to you. You could take one customer and make them worth $10,000 by the money that you make out the back end. It's far easier to keep a client and get them results than it is to get a new one. A lot of people are needy for the upfront fee, but neglect how much more money they can make from long-term relationships with retainers and commission deals. So you've got to be smart with it. And none of you here are stupid. During the speed run, because Marcus's service had multiple different components that needed to be built, it made sense for him to charge a setup fee for the services because he had to do a lot of upfront work. And if he did the upfront work and he wasn't paid for it, and then the client, I don't know, something happened and the client disappeared, he would be in the dirt, right? But we also wanted to get a way to get paid based on the results that we generated. So our earning potential was unlimited. It was depending on how much work Marcus put in and what results he produced. So we decided to go in at 3K USD as a setup fee, which is more than a fair price based on the value that his service provides, as well as a 15% revenue share on the profit generated from webinars Marcus was doing for his clients. Okay? Which meant that Marcus could also keep working with existing clients again and again and again and keep earning from the system that he had built in the first place. For example, Marcus's first client that he signed, he's already run a webinar with him. Marcus is now running another webinar with that same client, I think to the end of this month or the start of next, which means it's not a one and done service. He can work with that client for years potentially and make money for years, which means one client for him may be worth $100,000. Who knows? This way, he doesn't need to go client hunting at the start of every month, and he can predictably build up his client base over time. Now, in terms of flexibility, this is always a tough one when you're starting out, and it's a phase every entrepreneur has to go through. If you don't have any case studies and you don't have any results to actually point to, people are always going to be a little bit skeptical when working with you at first, which is natural. Even when I started Skill to Profit, I tested the cohorts for $500 a person, which was amazing value, but it meant that I could get results for people. So when the real thing launched, we had case studies to point to, and if anyone ever wanted to see them. This happens at every level of business, not just the start. Marcus knew this and didn't mind being flexible with his pricing, which is why for both clients who were signed, we split up the setup fee into half up front and the other half once the money had been made, which reduces the risk in the eyes of the client and it got more deals across the line. The 10K was made up of just 2 clients that Marcus closed. 2 setup fees, 1 payment for success commissions from the service he had provided. Because Marcus signed his first client for $2,500 and then produced an insane result for that client and then got paid more because of the result that he produced. And interestingly enough, one was actually an upsell to one of his existing clients. Marcus was inside and saw his back-end systems. That's all you need to collect $10,000 from a new business. 2 clients, back-end payments from the results that you produce, and then you can upsell your same client. That makes sense, right? So you deliver your already existing service, and then if you see something else you can help them with, you can then say, hey, I can also do that for you. And it's just going to cost you $1,000. That client already trusts you. So you're making more money per client. When you break it down like that, it's way more manageable. On the upsell side of things, when you start working with a client, you might notice a few things in other areas that they can improve on, which Marcus did. And he offered to also handle that for them as well, which meant that one client paid him well over 6K in less than 3 weeks. Just 3 weeks from no business to $6,000 in a bank account. The path to making your first 10K in business may not be linear. It might not be 4 payments of $2,500. It might look more like Marcus's, where if you price properly, you can do it rapidly with just 2 clients. So do you now all understand that there are several ways to price your services depending on what it is, and you've got to be flexible depending on who you're working with? Can you see how being flexible can get you your first deals across the line, even if you have no prior experience? And do you understand the power of a good pricing strategy after seeing Marcus make $6,000 from just 1 client? Are we all on the same page? Wonderful. Cool. Because this can be a big block for a lot of people who are just starting out. And even hold back some of those of you who have already gotten your business off the ground. You might not think that your service is valuable and therefore you want to charge for it. I've seen it across the board. You may be doing it right now. Or you think that you can just go in with no case studies and charge 10K up front, where in reality, you need to find the right balance in the middle. And when you properly combine each of these areas we've spoken about tonight, skill, market, offer, content, outreach, and pricing, this is how you were able to get results inside of Skill to Profit and results like we did for Marcus with a speed run. We are not reinventing the wheel here. There is no crazy thing I'm talking about, this crazy hack that's never been decided before. We are simply just doing business the way it's meant to be done. Finding problems, creating solutions, and getting paid. It's beautifully simple when you think about it like that. So before we continue, I want to recap where we've gone through so far to tie it all in for you. So you're all on the same page with me because we're going through this quite quickly. Now, we went over how the Skill to Profit framework was created and how it took me from a lost wannabe entrepreneur to building a $2 million business at 22 years old. We looked at how the Skill to Profit framework has worked for Andre, Ned, Anya, Liam, Charlie, Reinor. And that's not to mention results like this. This was today, in fact. Denelio crossed $10,000 a month. I'm not even going to go into all of these. You can just see the results. Pause it if you want. 10K day, $5,000 per month, $23,000 contract, 2K client, 3.5K. We looked back on the previous 2 speed runs and have done successfully using the skill to profit framework. Marcus told you his story before working with us and why he struggled to monetize his skills because he was using saturated business models to do so. We walked you through how we created his offer, chose his skill, and picked his market in the space of just a few days. And we showed you how to come up with your own service and offer. We showed you how to put together our content and our outreach systems in just 2 weeks and the different methods you can use to leverage both content and different forms of outreach. And we showed you how all of this came together in just 71 days, along with using the right pricing structure and being flexible with how we got paid to generate Marcus $10,000 from a business that 71 days ago had no name, no domain, did not exist, which is where most of you are right now. And how we didn't do anything new or novel and didn't need to rely on luck. We just use the same system that our students have been using to generate over $1 million collectively. So after seeing all of that, are you starting to realize why most people overcomplicate business and why just having a simple, proven framework can get you amazing results in a short time? Can you now feel how much easier your life would be if all you had to do was follow the simple skill to profit framework for your own service? And again, you can walk away with this and implement it right now. Skill, service, business, empire, that's what you transition into. And isn't it exciting that you could take one skill that you already have, just like Marcus did, and turn it into a revenue generating business in less than 90 days? Because this is it, ladies and gents. This is the same process that I use with every single one of our students inside Skill to Profit. And I'm sure Marcus won't mind me saying, I do apologize, Marcus. Marcus isn't an exception. He's not a black sheep. He isn't some God-gifted business wizard who just magically completed a challenge of ease. We had moments where we struggled. We had moments where there was doubt. And these moments were always going to be there, no matter who you are. There were so many moments inside the challenge where me and Marcus would get on calls and things would feel tough. Things would be slow. Nothing happens for weeks. Outreach was not working as well as we would liked. Sales was not closing. Balancing client fulfillment with signing new clients and building systems was incredibly tough. None of it was meant to be easy. And I don't want to tell you that it's going to be easy either. But I can tell you with confidence that this shit works. And it has worked time and time again for everyone who has properly applied it and given it their all. I could take anyone who has been a skill to profit, who has had success, and sit down with them and do a masterclass like this around their story and their process. They would all tell you the exact same things and have gone through the exact same process. They picked a high income skill, did the research and found a market that actively wanted it and would pay for it. They packaged it into an offer. They let the world know about their offer through outreach and content. And they persisted enough and believed in themselves enough to get their first few deals over the line. So the question I want to leave you with is this: why not you? Why can't you make this happen too? Can you genuinely think of a reason? Is there a special situation you are in that would make it impossible for you to not follow these steps and that we just ran through? No, probably not. You will probably have to start from zero or close to zero, just like everyone else has ever done this. And now you have seen the framework for yourself and have everything broken down to you live. You now have your own choice. You can go away right now after this, watch any YouTube video and attempt to apply all of this yourself without guidance, which for some of you will work and you'll see success. And I take my hat off to you. But I believe that a big part of Marcus's success wasn't just because of the information. It was the way that we applied it with such intensity, which is also able, with down to the accountability that he received. We jumped on a call almost every single day, except from Sundays and some other days. Over 45 calls we jumped on over the 71-day period. Not just from me, but from people inside the program too, who also helped him. He jumped on calls of outreach coaches, content coaches, ad coaches, even if it wasn't relevant. And I want to make sure that if there are any of you who are in a similar situation to Marcus, that you can receive the same level of support and accountability too, as well as the knowledge you need to go and make all of this work, which has been proven to work time and time again with the students inside of the Skill to Profit Inner Circle. But what actually is the Skill to Profit Inner Circle? Now, this is where I'll help you take one single skill and turn it into a $5,000 per month business minimum in 90 days or less, guaranteed. Guaranteed. This isn't a course that you buy, watch once, and never have to take action on. This isn't a cheap paid community with only 1/10 of the information that you actually need to succeed. This is a one-to-one mentorship and group coaching program with everything you could possibly need to succeed, where I can keep my eyes on you, keep you accountable, answer any questions you have, be there when times get tough, and celebrate your wins with you as they flood in. Now, we turn away roughly 60% of people who apply for the Inner Circle, either because they don't seem like a good fit or they aren't actually willing to put in the work. But because you're still watching up until this point, I know that you are one of the very few people who talk about making money online who are actually serious about it. And I want to help you turn running a successful business into your new normal. You are the people who are bound to succeed at some point. You just need the extra support and want to get there faster and smoother than you would alone. And I'm not going to foolishly promise you that you'll make 10K in 71 days like Marcus did, because then I would be setting the wrong expectations and have to deal with people in the program who aren't willing to put in any work. You'll be working with me for an intense 3-month mentorship. The result, we are going to turn any skill you have into a $5,000 per month business minimum by the end of our time working together. This is more than achievable for you, but that's what we are aiming for at first. You can't get to $10,000 per month without doing $5,000 first, right? So what's actually included? Now you get one-to-one direct support from me. You have me in your pocket as your personal advisor throughout your whole journey inside the program. One-to-one calls with me, weekly group Q&A calls with me for general questions, access to me in a private channel 24/7. This is not the kind of program where you only speak to me once and then never see me again. I'll be one message away at all times. I'm going to be keeping my eye on you and making sure that you're always on track to hit the next goal that we set together. The one thing everyone in the inner circle has in common is that people around them are not striving for the same goals as them. I'm sure you guys can relate. Group Q&A calls weekly, where you can get to know everyone, bounce ideas and network. Inner circle events, in-person events, not just online. Job opportunities from client referrals, job boards, opportunities to collab. We have people in the inner circle who are at your level and beyond. One of the things I'm most proud of is the sense of community that we've actually built, a network of peers to earn and learn with. We don't just leave you alone once you join the program. You will have 50+ hours of self-paced videos inside the program. Mindset mastery, skills and training, where we go into 10 times more depth than our call tonight. Market training, how to identify the most profitable market, how to create your offer, plug and play outreach scripts, templates and strategies, beginner-friendly sales training, so that getting strangers to pay you even if you hate sales or have never taken a call before. It's a library of content. There's like 60 hours worth of content. Long story short, this is everything that you could possibly need and more to finally start hitting consistent and predictable $5,000 months with your skill-based business. This is the exact same coaching that has generated well over $1 million and counting, and that figure is a little bit outdated, for students inside the program. But on top of getting access to the Skilled Profit Inner Circle and everything we just discussed, I have something else for you. Something that nobody else, other than those of you who are here right now, will know about. And something that nobody, other than those of you here right now, will be able to access. You see, during the speed run, Marcus and I had a call almost every single day throughout the 71 days. And on these calls, as you can see, we recorded every single minute of our conversations, which by the end of it totaled well over 500 gigabytes worth of recording, well over 45 hours worth, and over the 50 hours of daily private one-to-one mentorship, which is something I've never done before. And throughout these entire conversations, I shared and uncovered knowledge that I didn't even know I had. We dive deep into all of the highs and the lows and the technicalities that come with starting a business, all in raw, unfiltered, unscripted environment. And I thought it would be a massive shame if all of these recordings stayed private and weren't used to help others watch through and essentially use the same knowledge to be mentored one-to-one by me. So Marcus has very kindly agreed. I asked him the other night at dinner that for those of you who can fill out the application and book in a call tonight to celebrate the completion of the third and probably the final speed run, to be honest, I'm getting old now. I can't keep doing this. It stresses me out. To give access to all of the calls that Marcus and I had during the speed run, every single one of them. Additional 40 hours of mentorship from me for you to work for in your own time. This is like one-to-one mentorship. You're basically getting mentorship secondhand. You'll hear almost every single conversation that Marcus and I had together, almost every single one, bar some WhatsApp messages. And that will help you craft your own service based on the conversations inside. These videos will stay private forever and will only be available for those of you who are already in the inner circle and those of you who join from this call. So what will all of this do for you? My promise to you watching this right now goes as follows. You will have a fully systemized service-based business. You will have the frameworks, resources, and knowledge to start and scale this business to 5 figures per month. You will have built a network of high-value entrepreneurs that you can learn and earn with. More importantly, these are great people who will become great friends. There's a few of them in the call tonight. And my guarantee to you watching this right now is as follows. If you show up to all of the weekly calls, if you complete the tasks we set, and if you complete the training in full, and you still somehow don't make your investment back and a return on investment within 3 months, then we will work with you for free until you do. You will stay inside the inner circle for no extra charge. So I want to leave you with this. Go to the link or in the chat, scan this QR code to apply. The link is in the chat now. You can click on it, fill out the information, book in a call, and then you'll have a chat with a member of my team to discuss your plans, where you're at, what's working, what's not, what we can help you with, and if you're suited for the inner circle. So you must fill out the application and book your call tonight to qualify for the private call recordings. This is what it looks like. You go through, put your name, last name, phone number, email, super simple stuff. And for final pieces of clarity, once you book in your call, you'll be speaking with a member of the Kaizen team, and we'll talk a little bit about your background, what you're currently doing, where you want to take it. And if we think that we can actually help you, we will get you started ASAP and get into the onboarding. Once we're good to go for onboarding, you'll meet Zach, as you can see on the left, playing table tennis with him, who thankfully is better at customer success than he is at ping pong. Zach is head of customer success at the Kaizen, and he will provide you with your North Star game plan document, as well as point you in the right direction of which modules to go through first. The whole point of this is to get your cogs turning and see what you come up with based on your experience so far. And once completed, you will then be able to book in your first strategy session with me directly. We don't do group onboarding because I know that everyone's situation is different. There is no one-size-fits-all approach. You need bespoke guidance and help positioning with what you do, which is what we'll go over on this call. Think of this as laying down solid foundations for your business, just as you saw us do with Marcus earlier on. This is very hands-on from us, as you can see. Most people who have a program like this will do one weekly call and then just pop in to check you out of courtesy, not out of care. The reason this is so hands-on from us is I have hundreds of hours of content on the internet showing people how they can turn their skills into profit. How many of those people, even with the same information, actually start seeing the numbers in their bank account rise? They watch the content, they take the notes, they send a few outreach messages, if even that, and then they go back to watching company podcasts. And most people don't struggle to understand the information. They struggle with the following. You have nobody holding you accountable, no peers, nobody on the same path as you who is doing the same thing, no confidence in your ability to deliver the service, nervous to outreach or get on sales calls, no clue what to do to scale. And most importantly, no direct feedback on your specific situation. So if you actually want to win, you need someone to support you and review your skill stack and help you make an offer more valuable. Review your outreach, not just do follow-on copy and paste templates. Review your sales calls, not another sales script. Not just always with business support, but general support as well. You're stepping into the unknown, and it probably feels daunting if you're alone. With others, you'll feel invincible. Zach, the person I mentioned earlier, he tells me that 90% of his job is just being a therapist, just helping people out, general problems. And that's what you'll also get access to. Like if you have a team in your corner, which you do. And you don't need to go through the struggles of doing this alone, because the Skill to Profit handles every single problem you are going to have, and it solves it for you before you even get there. Something that is as close to me doing it for you as you can possibly get without me actually doing it for you. And this isn't for you if you aren't 100% sure that you want to do this, you're not willing to put in the hours to start, you aren't coachable or willing to be held accountable so we can actually get you to your goal, you aren't going to add value to the community and bring others up with you and support the team, you don't have capital or the ability to invest in coaching. This is not free. I won't lie to you. If any of these do sound like you, this is not an option for you. But this is for you if you're actually committed to changing your situation and making more money than you know what to do with. You're willing to let me help you directly. You're willing, or you will actually go out there and implement it with intention. You know you will reach your goals 10 times faster with direct access to me, my coaches, and my network inside. You are a nice person to work with and be around. And this is going to be exactly what you need. And worst case scenario, if you don't join, you end up working with a business that's making you over $5,000 per month minimum, or we will work with you for free until you do. You will have clients who will pay you over and over and over again. You will have social proof and the ability to go and get more and better clients. But the real worst case scenario is that you do exactly what you're doing right now. You wait for perfection, you procrastinate, look for one big fix, and you wake up at 3 months' time and you realize you still haven't made any tangible progress. Still no clients, still no network, still no clarity on where you're going to go or what you're doing. So many of our inner circle students would sit on calls like this and be unsure as well. They would have doubt about whether they could do it or whether it would actually work for their skill. But eventually, they would join the program. And number one piece of feedback we always get is, I wish I would have joined when I first heard about it. I knew that when I joined, I was actually going to commit to doing this. When I asked them why they didn't join before, they didn't even know. They were just in their own head about it all. So if you're actually committed to starting your own online business and you don't want to go down another path, like truly committed, you know you want to do it 100%, why wait? What are you waiting for? Why would you half-heartedly try to make this business thing work for months, if not years before committing? Why watch a bunch of YouTube videos when you could be in the trenches getting actionable, applicable advice from people who have been there and done it before? Business is a sport, and business is the only sport where people think you can get better by not participating. If a friend told you that they want to become a professional tennis player and all they did was watch videos of Andy Murray on YouTube, you think they'd gone mad. You tell them that they need to go and play tennis and get a tennis coach or tennis lessons. Business is no different. So that being said, The application is in the chat and below, and it's Q&A time. We'll go through some FAQs in a minute. Again, guys, if you are in a position where you have, not even if you have a skill, you want to monetize the skill, what I've explained to you does sound decent. You feel like it's the right path to take. Scan this QR code, fill out the application, jump on a call. There's no pressure on the call. No one's going to like shove a card reader down your throat. That's not the idea. We want to see if it can actually work for you. We want to see if you're someone who will actually be able to put in the work. And if so, we'll point you towards next directions. Worst case scenario on the call, you'll leave with some actionable insight. We're not high pressure salespeople. I want every single one of the people who you'll jump on a call with to leave you with a good impression. And that's literally what they are trained to do. So scan this QR code, fill out the information, see if you get a call booked in, because they'll probably fill up quite quickly. And if you do, amazing. So let's go through some FAQs. Firstly, how do I know this will work with my skill and or my market? As I've gone through in this entire call, it works with any skill within reason. As long as it's transferable, as long as it's sellable, we can make it work. And markets can be adapted, they can be pivoted, they can be evolved. So I'm not saying that your market's perfect, but we'll make it perfect. But also in the Q&A, feel free to tell me what your skill is and what your market is, and I'll tell you firsthand if it will work. I don't have much experience with my skill. How do I get good enough to start to offer it as a service? Within the actual training program, we dive very, very, very heavily into how to get good at your skill fast, how to learn it, where to learn it, how to sharpen your axe. So when you actually come to chopping the tree down, you're doing it in one slice, one swift hit. So there's a lot of training going into how to learn a skill, how to find a skill if you don't already have one, how to learn it fast. Do I need any softwares or any other resources to start once I'm inside? Very few. We focus on a few automation softwares, and that's literally it. Everything else from there is optional. But of course, you're running a business here. There's no point in running a business with a caveman, sticks and stones. You got to use the new tools. How much time a day do I need to make this work? We have people inside who are doing 9-to-5 jobs. We have people inside who have full families. So time is not an excuse. It's more of a case of, can I find time to do this? Or how do I find time? It's never I don't have enough time. It's what do I prioritize and how do I put enough time towards this? Like I said, we have some people inside working an hour a day, 2 hours a day on their business. We have some people inside doing 10 hours a day. That's not the problem. You'll scale in relation to how much time you put into it. What about taxes, legalities, and things like that? Do not worry about this stuff until you actually cross that bridge. And we will advise you on that as well, in terms of just getting that basic stuff set up. Whether you're in a country where setting up a business is difficult, or taxes is something you're scared about, we'll cross that bridge when we get to it. Do you have any payment plans available for the inner circle? Yes, plenty. Click on the QR code at the bottom right, scan it, fill out the questions, and we'll help you from there. Can you help me if I'm already running a business and need help scaling it? 100%. We have a lot of different kind of like levels of the program that's tailored to different people. Whether you have a skill set or a business already, a service-based business, or you don't, we can most definitely help you. Do you have any payment plans? I'll go on for that one. Cool. So this is the page you're going to get to. Scan the QR code. You'll get to the page on the left. Fill that out. You'll get to the page on the right. Book in a call, and then you'll chat to a member of my team. So fill in your application. Book in a call now. And Marcus, do you want to feel free to unmute your mic and your face? Unmute your face, because we're going to do a little bit of a Q&A now. Because I know that all of you guys, you've watched this, but you want to learn from Marcus as well. Not just me. I can say this until I literally pass out. But Marcus is a person who's just done this, just finished it as of the other day. Amazing. So we're going to get some questions in the chat now. Okay, cool. So one from Archie on the right. I previously finished one of your questionnaire forms before and told that I'm not quite where I need to be financially to commit as of yet. With that said, I'm really interested in diving into the 40 hours of recorded mentoring with Marcus Showcase. Can I ask these recordings, are these recordings something we get access after booking or joining the call, like you mentioned, or does that only become available? So it only becomes available if you actually join the inner circle, Charlie. Archie, sorry. So you'll have to join, but even if you've gone through the form and it says you're not financially applicable yet, it's absolutely fine. Our team will probably reach out to you, have a chat, and see how we can help you from there. So we'll provide you with some next steps nonetheless. I don't want to leave you kind of like completely empty. But yeah, it's only available if you actually join the inner circle. Perfect. I'm just going to go through a few. Oh God, I've just clicked on the QR code. I'm filling out myself now. I'm going to go through a few questions and then Marcus, you can take it away.
Sounds good, man.
Perfect. So how would you exactly send out cold DMs? Marcus, you want to run through this? Because Marcus, you developed quite a good strategy of sending out cold DMs. Yeah. So take it away.
Yeah. So what I would do with cold DMs, right, is in the beginning, I was the night before finding a list of like, let's say 15, 30, 45 people that I wanted to reach out to. This was in the very beginning of the kind of speedrun stages. We'd find the list. I'd use different tools, right? Similar tube for me. I was finding like YouTube coaches, Instagram suggested, things like that. And then once I've got a list of those people, I'd have it in some kind of like Google Sheets form. And every single day, the next morning, the first thing I'd do when I woke up was actually pick up my camera and just send 15 videos every hour. And I would do that every single day for about a good 2 to 3 weeks straight. And then I managed to upgrade as well. We got like someone to like do it for us, like do the lead sourcing for us. And then about, I'd say 8 weeks into speedrun, I actually hired like a good friend of mine to send the videos for me. So it started out with me in the trenches, like sending the DMs every single day. And by the end of the speedrun, I was focusing entirely on service delivery with, you know, people behind me. And I could never have imagined that in just like 60 days as well, I'd go from nothing to having 2 people helping me with my outreach.
Amazing. Cool. I'm in the email warming up stage. Any advice on outreach when it's ready? I mean, like we spoke about in this call, you want 2 approaches. You want an automated one at scale where you can focus on quantity necessarily instead of quality, and then you want one where it's focusing on quality instead of quantity. So it's very, very personalized. It's very specific to them. So I mean, we spoke about a lot of the outreach on this call. Any like words of advice you would give Marcus just in terms of outreach?
Yeah, just in terms generally of outreach, I think the one thing that we spoke about a lot throughout our calls was like, you need to stand out, right? You need to do something that interrupts people, like whether that be like free work, whether that be something that just grabs their attention, whether that be, I don't know, there's plenty of things, right? If you can come up with something, it's better than listening to somebody else tell you what to do, because everybody else is just going to follow the scripts, the templates. But if you can kind of come up with like more of a unique angle on it, I think that really helps with the outreach and getting some good responses.
100%. Yeah, 100%. I'm a video editor, struggle with client acquisition. You've got to ask the question, Faraz. I don't know what your question is. What was your age a problem with the business? You're too young, etc. What do you think, Marcus?
I wouldn't say so. I would say I have a bit of a baby face myself, but I don't think I ever ran into that issue. I think as long as you know what you're doing, you know, you can prove that you have the skill set and that you're ready to grind. I think anyone can, you know, find a way to get a client and start getting those results building up.
Yeah, spot on. I mean, it's like how you proceed, how you put yourself across, right? You want to come across as mature and you know your shit. No one asks, oh, how old are you? If you come across like a professional, because it's just like, that's not even a question worth asking. Hey, Marcus, what resources, copywriting mentors accelerated your refinement of the skill of copywriting? Anyone you want to point out?
Yeah. So obviously you've got to read all the books, right? So some of the books that I read were like Copywriting Secrets, I think it's called, and then like Cash Advertising, the Ball Run Letters. And then obviously I was learning webinars. So the one book I had to read was One to Many, which was all about webinars. But one person that I didn't know about before the challenge that I now watch all the time of, thanks to Charlie, who you spoke about, one of the guys inside of the Skill to Profit Inner Circle. He put me on Jason Fladlian, right? And I've been watching all his copywriting masterclasses, and they are insane because they just, he goes into so much more detail. He's just so hyper, like he has such a good understanding of copywriting. And that's basically who I've been listening to throughout the whole 90-day challenge.
Amazing. Marcus, tell us a bit more about the personalized videos for the outreach. Like, what was the kind of structure that you used? Because we had to kind of tweak it a lot. So just to be clear as well, Marcus sent an initial message where it was like a selfie message where he was like, hey, name, I see you're killing it, maybe like a little compliment, and then would get a permission. He would say, I want to send over this. I want your permission for me to send over this, where it would be a Loom video that would then be quite bespoke and detailed to them. And then when they respond and say, cool, I'm happy for you to send that over, he would then send over a Loom video. The reason that we did it that way is because if you just straight away send over like a detailed personalized Loom video, you're wasting your time on people who may not even care in the first place. And that's a massive problem because you could be only focusing your time on people who have already shown interest. So you kind of identify who actually cares for those initial videos, and then you double down with the Loom videos. I mean, Marcus, what kind of like strategy of the Loom videos worked the best for you?
Yeah, so in the beginning, I was trying to keep them as short as possible. But, as time kind of went on, I realized that the more kind of value and information you can add inside the actual Loom videos itself, right? When you're saying, okay, here's what I can do for you, you're breaking it down, you're sharing your screen, the better. Like, the more you can say, as long as each word you say actually makes sense, each word you say impacts the whole thing, then you can say as much as you want. So I really honed in on my offer, right? It was a results-based offer. As we said with the pricing as well, a lot of the money came on the back end, right? A lot of time I'd kind of lower the setup fee, take the money on the back end. So in the Loom videos, I was speaking about the offer. I was speaking about specifically the results they could get. Right, this one was amazing for me, but we put together like around day 50, I think it was. We put together like a free lead magnet that I'd give out in the Loom video, where I'd break down how much money it could make them, a webinar could make them, and it would show them like, if you have these many followers, you can make this amount of money. And so just little unique things like that throughout the Loom video, and breaking it down personalized to them, I think massively helped. And that's how we booked quite a few calls with that strategy.
100%. Carmen asks, I want to start an online business, but it often feels oversaturated and already well known. In school, we're taught that money is scarce and that real wealth only comes from careers like doctors, lawyers, or engineers. At the same time, seeing how easily people fall for online courses makes the whole space seem almost too good to be true. Well, to be honest, man, I mean, the way that I see it, and I think that a lot of other entrepreneurs see it the same way, is that there are some people that are skeptical, and there's some people that put their balls on the table and go, fuck it, what have I got to lose? What's the worst thing that could potentially happen? As long as you're not putting yourself in debt and you know you're being stupid with your money, what's the worst thing that could potentially happen? And to be honest, like the whole idea of like you can only make money by being a lawyer, an engineer, or a doctor is the old way of thinking. It's the way that old people think because that's what they were brought up learning. That's what they knew. But there's a modern way to make money, you know, and the modern way to make money is through modern business. It's not even modern. Like what we're teaching here isn't necessarily modern. We just use modern methods. Like the whole idea of identifying your skill, finding a market. You could have done this back in, 1920 when you were selling steel. Like it's the same thing. You're just doing it to a very modern standard and using modern techniques and modern methods. So what we're teaching here isn't a business model. We're not teaching you some kind of scheme or it's like, you do this crazy thing and it's only going to be applicable for the next month before it goes out of date. That's not the case. This will work now. It will work in 10 years' time. It worked 100 years ago. It's just using modern methods. So you've got to kind of get over that skepticalness of like, oh, I think it's too good to be true. Cool. It's not for you then. Like that's kind of what it comes down to. And people will fall on either side. And if you fall on the side where you say, it's not for me, it's too good to be true, that's fine. You can continue your life that way. But I guarantee that you will not get to the position you want to be in with that mindset. You've got to flip it. Everything you're saying here is a limiting belief. It's a belief that isn't yours initially. It was given to you by somebody else, and you just take that as law. So you've got to update your limiting beliefs, get rid of them first and foremost, and then get to the next stage. I mean, Marcus, for you spoke a lot about limiting beliefs. Have you got any kind of takes on that?
Yeah, actually, I do have quite a good few ones on this one, right? So when I started, I was in the exact same position as a lot of people would say, as we spoke about, talking about the fact that money only comes from lawyers, doctors, engineers. And you just, like Callum said, you just have to get past that belief, because at the end of the day, if you go on the internet, you will see plenty of people that can make money online with copywriting, with AI, with whatever your skill is. You will find somebody in that space making money. There's kids younger than you, there's kids older than you, right? And I just kind of had to accept that very early on in my journey, and that's why I started. And also as well, another thing with this one is, like, I got on a call with Callum's team actually about a year ago. Yeah. And I didn't push in because money was so scarce for me. I was like, oh, this isn't really going to work. I spoke to my family about it. There's no way this can be true, that I can make a $5,000 a month business. And I did, wait another year for me to see any success, and then ended up implementing the skill to profit framework anyway. And here we are with like a 10K a month business. So it works.
It's true, because what was it, Marcus? Your brother was like, it's too good to be true, right? It's not real. Yeah. Like that's not how business works. And then a year later, obviously you're in this position now, but it's just a case of when your beliefs are given to you by somebody else, you've got to really ask yourself the question, how did that person get their beliefs? And is that person in a position that I want to be in? If not, they are a direct result of the beliefs that they have. So you got to really think to yourself, I don't want to be in that same position. I need to update my beliefs. I need to refine them. I need to optimize them. And that's where you got to look at it. Can a 20-year-old guy from India join this course? Of course you can. Why not? Why not you? You got 50% revenue share. How did you measure what revenue you generated? Rely on the client telling you?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so what we did is we, luckily, because we did have quite good relationships with the two clients that we signed, we did rely quite a lot on word of mouth. But the best thing that we did at the end is we got them to export basically all the data they'd taken from payment processors, and then we could cross-reference based on the like data sets that we had, the CRM that we built. We can see, okay, did this person purchase from the webinar? And that basically gave us everything that we need to know. But often, if you've got a good client, they'll pay you on time and they'll pay you the right amount.
100%. Yeah. Hi, Callum. There are already so many free tutorials and templates for Excel and Power BI online. How would you recommend someone like me with strong skills in spreadsheets, Power Query, and DAX? I don't know what those last two things are. I'm not going to lie to you. Stand out and actually get people to pay for my work instead of just using free stuff. So this is going to require me to really dive into your skill set. But what I can tell you is we had a guy called Adam who was actually in the initial cohort from the inner circle who had the skill of Excel spreadsheets because he worked at a job where he was an apprentice and he built Excel spreadsheets. He made over $7,000 in a month with Excel spreadsheets, creating custom bespoke ones for companies. He would go to them and they would, he would look at their processes and he would say, these are completely outdated. I can help you automate and update them with Excel spreadsheets. So those skills, as generic as they may be, because someone can use Excel online for free, right? You've got to take your skill set, turn it into a package and into a result producing activity, and then you sell it as one. It's kind of like, you can sell shit if it's wrapped up in a nice enough package, right? If it's in a nice enough box and it looks really appealing, you can sell it. I'm not saying your service will be shit. What I'm saying is you can sell anything. You just got to create a really nice offer around it, a transformation, and sell it that way. So people will pay for your work as long as you make it results producing. It produces a result for them. It's applicable, and of course, you've got a nice package around it. What was the volume of outreach Marcus did on a daily basis? So like we spoke about, the personalized outreach, like the videos he would send, he got to about 30 to 50, I think it was, Marcus, by the end of it.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
And then with the emails, how many did you send out in total, if you remember?
Yeah, I think we sent out over about 700 in total.
Yeah, but that was obviously all automated, so it's not him sending out the emails one by one. Can I scale a business that is an MLM where pricing is limited? What, like multi-level marketing? I don't know. Pricing is limited. I mean, I'll have to learn more about your pricing, Ryan, and kind of what the actual structure is. I'm a true believer of scaling any business. You just have to update the pricing. I'm assuming that you like affiliate for another product and you get commission. Probably not. But also that you're not a business owner. That's not a business. That is not your business to scale. You're scaling somebody else's business. So like you've got to stand on your own 2 feet and have your own business, not somebody else's. We had a few people actually joining in a circle with an MLM, and they're like, yeah, we just affiliate for this. It's like a water clearer thing. It purifies water. And they were like, we sell this, we get a commission. And then the people who sell it beneath us also get commission. We get a commission from that. And it's like, that's not your business. You're selling somebody else's product. Start your own business. Use your own skill set. Marcus, when you established that what your skill was going to be, how did you actually go about mastering the skills, and how did Callum help you with this? So you spoke about the books. Was there anything else you used to kind of get really good at the skill?
I think the best way to get good at the skill is to do the skill, is to practice the skill, whatever skill you've got. So, for example, right, mine's copywriting, and I actually recently realized this, that you're always, kind of accepting how much you've got to learn, right? So I thought I'd read all the books, I thought I'd done all the work I needed for copywriting. And recently I realized there's still so much that I need to know and need to learn. And so, for me, learning that skill is just a process of doing every single day, right? Copywriting, I write my content script. I've been practicing writing stories. I've been writing YouTube video scripts. Those things, for example, is practicing copywriting every single day. So I would just say the best way to learn the skill is to find a piece of information and then go out and practice that piece of information, and then find a new piece of information, and just keep doing it until you get better. But don't expect to be great from the beginning, because you're not going to be like my first webinar. When I first wrote the first draft of it, was not good at all, but it just got better through iterations.
100%. I mean, I remember, Marcus, when we had our original, when we got to this stage where it was like, right, you've got to get good now. I was just like, just pretend you've already got clients and just build out webinars for them. Like, study what other people have done as well. Not just a case of learn from books, but look at other people who have done it firsthand, and also just pretend they're already a client. And then you can just do that, look back at what you did and make improvements based on that. But you're spot on. What's the minimum amount of money required to be able to join in a circle? Not the most financially free at the moment, but so keen to learn and grow. So we have loads of payment plans, and it's honestly depending on you and your situation. I mean, we also have things like financing and whatnot. So I don't even know what the minimum is, but I'm pretty sure it's low. So again, even if you fill out the application, which you guys can do, you can still, I got a pen on here. Amazing. You guys can fill out the application here, scan a QR code, or there's a link in the chat. Fill out that. It will tell you if you're financially qualified to book in a call. If not, our team will be in touch and really get some more information about you in terms of cool, you're at this level, maybe this is what's stopping you. How can we get around that, and obviously help you from there? So if it's a financial problem, we can help you, but it's still worth filling out the form, seeing if everything suits, and we can go from there. How much outreach DMs do you do in a day? We've answered that one. Is there financial advice available? Yes, there is. Are the calls only available if we pay for the course, or are they available after we go through the call, even if we're not a good fit? So they're only available if you actually get in the inner circle, unfortunately, but it's only available for you guys, like if you join, in terms of no one else is going to get them. It's literally everything was finalized today. So it's only going to be available if you actually join the program. What was the biggest thing you've done that really moved the needle for your business, Marcus?
Well, first thing was joining the Skill to Profit speed run, but second thing for me would be just really developing a sense of kind of delusional self-belief, right? Before the speed run, I never believed that it was all possible, but through being every single day with someone like Callum, who is already there where I want to be, right? Has got everything that I want, basically like already achieved success, right? Being there every single day taught me that it is really possible. Any one of us here can be successful, right? I didn't believe in myself, as you saw in my story, a lot in the early days. But being around Callum taught me that you need to believe in yourself. You need to have kind of almost delusional self-trust. And so the biggest thing that moved the needle for my business was just believing in me. Because when I started to believe in me, I started to take the actions like I was, someone that had confidence. And then when I did those actions, I started to portray that in sales calls more, and in content I sounded more authoritative. So yeah, just believing in yourself and trying to just really keep that self-belief up every single day, no matter what happens.
100%. Amazing stuff. Ethan, I see your message. That's all good, man. Again, still fill out the form. Our team will be in touch, and then you can explain to them like when you can join or what the delay is, and then we can just make a reminder for them to get you all onboarded. I'm from a very lower middle class family. Don't have money to invest. I'm just starting out, but 100 minutes work. So we still have loads and loads of free resources. Again, I've made it must be over 100 hours of content now on YouTube alone in terms of how you can do this, how you can get started, going over outreach content, all this kind of stuff. So start on YouTube. If you have no money, start on YouTube. That's where you can get cracking with it all. And then as you start to apply what you're learning, then you can reinvest. You reinvest in yourself and you make more as a result. So you sent Loom videos without a yes permission? No, he would wait for a yes permission and then send the Loom videos. He would send a selfie video. Hey, this is me. This is what I do. I want to send you this Loom video. Do you want it? When they say yes, he will then send over the Loom video. One of the problems is trying to reach clients in different countries while you're in a country that has strict payment policies when it comes to international payments. You can get over that. If there's wealthy people in your country, then you can get over it. So again, if you don't have any money, it's absolutely fine. I'm not here to be like, oh, how dare you not have any money? There's so much free resources out there. So many resources that you can dive into. Go to YouTube. Again, I'm bigging myself up here, but I've put so much content out on YouTube that you can consume for free. And when you start taking action on that content and you get a result from it, that's when you can reinvest in yourself. How did you prove that to the first client that you're worth 2.5K setup fee?
Yeah, this is a really good question. So like we said earlier on in the training, is I didn't take the setup fee in its like whole entirety, right? So I took 1K or $1.5K up front, and then $1.5K once we generated results. And so by splitting it up and being like, look, right, we'll do the 1K now, the 2.5 or the 1.5, sorry, later on, that gave them the trust to be like, okay, well, I'm only paying £1,000, $1,500 up front now. That means that, if it doesn't work, I've not really lost too much. And if it does work, well, I've gained a lot. And that's obviously what ended up happening. I think that's the best way to do it is just, work for a lower price, work for free, prove that you're worth it, and then talk payments, then talk, setup fees and things like that.
100%. Amazing. Will there be a recording for me to see deep in the webinar? Yes, because you stay till the end, you'll get a recording sent over. I'm currently in school and work about 35 hours a week outside of school in automation and chatbots. I'm currently doing outreach after learning the skill from no knowledge, but I'm about to go into the exam season. What most people don't have any time to do this, and I would be a dumb right to pursue. I'll be able to join a summer. So yeah, you can join next summer 100%. I mean, what I always say, Harrison, is that I understand, obviously, exam season, completely get it. I mean, I started my first online business during my exams. So I understand the kind of balance and the juggling of what you have to do. You can most definitely find time. There's people that work 2 jobs and have like a couple hours a day to themselves or an hour a day to themselves, and they can make it work. Then you can definitely make it work if you've got exams. Don't let that reason limit you and what action you take. Not even, don't even book a call. That's not what I'm talking about. What I'm saying is, even if you were to pursue this yourself, you can still do it whilst being at school and having other things to do. You can still juggling it. It's just about prioritizing your time and finding time. How do you qualify people for outreach? Marcus, you want to run through this?
Yes, yes. So I think it's just having a set criteria. I know that sounds kind of simplistic, but we had a set criteria of like they must have 1,000 followers or more. They must say I help or coach in the bio. Just things like that, right? Getting clear on who you're targeting and who your service would work for. And then you've got a qualification criteria and you can go out and find those people easily if you just know exactly what they are, what they look like, where they hang out, that kind of thing.
100%. But the way that we did it is that we very, very lightly qualify them before, just to make sure
Mhm.
that they seem okay. And then when they would respond and be like, oh yeah, I'm interested in learning more about it, that's when we kind of like double qualify, right? And then we go into deeper detail and we really find out if they're the right person, because we want to make sure that our time's spent efficiently. And it's not going to be spent efficiently if we're heavily qualifying every single person we reach out to. So you kind of half qualify and then you over qualify once they've got a response. How long did you practice your copy for? When were you confident enough that your copy was worth getting paid for?
Yeah, so I've been obviously trying to learn the skill of copywriting for a long time, right? So I've been practicing for, I'd say, I mean, in different forms, copywriting exists in every single business. So even when I was doing like SMMA, I tried making YouTube videos, right? Writing hooks, that kind of thing. It's all very much to do with copywriting. So yeah, I practice. I've been practicing it, I'd say, since I started, which was 2 years ago, but really ramped it up in the past 90 days. And I can't lie, as much as I said before, right, you need to have that delusional self-belief. I was never 100% confident that my copy was enough to get paid for. And I think you can't be when you sign your first client. You can't be like, yes, I'm going to do this. You can be once you've had the client and you've got them the results. So that's how I feel now. But you're never going to be 100% confident. Sometimes you just need to take that leap of faith and think, here you go. Right, I'm just going to do some work for a little bit lower, a little bit cheaper to prove my worth. Then I'll become confident. Or you just take the money, you figure it out, you figure out how to get better. And through that process, you do become confident over time.
100%. Amazing. I'm still in school, 3 hours of focused work every single day. Of course, you can make it work. How will I
Yeah.
get the recording? You get it sent to you. Do you need to pay to book in a call? No. Call's completely free. It's more of like a consultation kind of thing. Can you share the slide with me? So you will have this webinar sent to you, so you can go back to that slide. I've started an AI automation agency for tools such as AI receptionist chatbot. Is this applicable in our current market? What market are you talking about? But yes, chatbot receptionists work incredibly well. Um, where did you get people to send outreach for you? So your guy was a friend, wasn't he, Marcus? You just kind of like
Yeah.
hired to do it for you.
Yeah, so luckily I just did find a friend, but I mean the the method that you can use is what Callum taught me was like for hiring people was Upwork. So it's like going on Upwork, putting out a job post. That's how I got the person that found the leads for me. The person to send it, I was just like, yeah, rang up a friend was like, can you do this for me? But you'll be able to find someone through like those platforms, right? Upwork, Fiverr, that kind of thing.
100%. Um, we've gone through what you said in the DMs. Now you've completed it, Marcus. Is there anything that you would have done differently that you would have believed made it easier, quicker? Very good question.
Yeah, I think on reflection, just posting more content. Like I did try my hardest with content, right? There were days where I would slog through to post content, but if you do look back at it, I would have liked to been able to say that I did one video every 2 days or one video even every single day. And that is the goal that, we spoke about a lot, Callum, right? Was one every other day. And I'm quite, annoyed to say that I didn't hit that goal. And I
Mm,
do think that, things come up, service delivery comes up, it gets hard, but just making that more of a priority, over other things, or making sure I at least have a more set schedule where I can wake up, do outreach, and then do content instead of just kind of winging it every single day.
100%. Yeah. How did you get the proof to get clients? So, like we spoke about, it wasn't always about proof. It was about being confident with the service and also having a really good offer, a really good pricing structure where it's like, you want to make the person you're selling to be aware that they cannot lose, because Marcus did it in a way where he said, right, you pay me this. If I don't make you that money back, I pay you the money back. No lose situation.
Mm.
And then he got the rest of it out the end when he produced the results. So it wasn't proof to get clients necessarily. It was a really good offer and making yourself be positioned as an authority, which is done through content, which is what we've been speaking about. Cool. We're very behind on the questions. I've realized that we're 20 minutes behind because there's been quite a few sent through. So I think we've answered quite a few already. So how do you identify your USP?
Yeah, that was like quite a long process, but again, it's just looking, sitting there, and just really actually doing the work. Like, there's no secret formula to things like identifying your offer, identifying your USP. Obviously, there's components of that. So, for example, for a USP, it obviously needs to be unique. It needs to be different. It needs to sound good. It needs to have elements that someone else in your market isn't using. For example, I've started testing, instead of calling them webinar funnels, calling them live event funnels inside of my outreach, just to sound a bit different. But
Mm.
really, it's just about sitting down, coming up with as many ideas as you can for your service and what makes you different, and unique, and leveraging that, and then just testing it as much as possible.
100%. Yeah, spot on. Can we do it without showing our face? Yes, but I don't really see why you would. Why wouldn't you show your face? Of course, you can build a business without showing your face, but content and being able to show your face and being expressive and letting people know who's behind the actual service is going to help you grow your business so much faster. I would, instead of asking that question, I would kind of tackle the reason of why you don't want to show your face first. Anyway, I think this is more sales pitch. I kind of hope you would see more in-depth process of what the steps are like. So it's a good point. That's absolutely fine. To be honest, like, we don't have that long to go through it on this presentation, right? So we went through over an hour of training before we actually got to the pitch where we're like, this is what we're going to do. So we have to kind of do it at a high level while still giving you as much information as possible and giving you like an overview of what we did. But there was nothing that we didn't hide there. Like, we could have gone through the individual outreach scripts, but we would literally be here for 4 or 5 hours, and no one has time for that, and we don't have time for that. So we want to make sure that we gave it to you as like impactful as possible. But then again, man, I completely get what you're saying. We also do have a massive documentary that we'll be releasing like in a month or so, which was a whole documentary of every video we recorded with Marcus, not the one-to-one calls, but Marcus documenting his journey, explaining what he was doing when he was doing it. So you'll also have a lot of information there that you can jump onto. I'm 16. Do you think I should be rushing to make money, or I'm slowly trying to develop myself first? Do both. You have to rush to make money, but your focus can be on making money and developing yourself.
Yeah.
There's no reason you can't do both. Yeah, so Hussein, I mean, bro, like I said, lots of free resources out there, lots of free content. If you couldn't book in a call, it's absolutely fine. It's not the end of the world. Go for all the free stuff first, take action on it, then you can reinvest when you get to the point. Does this work for someone who needs to learn a skill, a new skill from scratch, or for a coach that specializes in chronic fatigue and burnout? Yeah, 100%. Because you have a skill, which is teaching that thing. You have a market, like the same principles apply, the exact same principles apply. It's just a different way that you approach it and a different way that you actually deliver it. So all of that works incredibly well. I do email outreach for a free edit to stand out, but still get no reply back. I mentioned their business, make it hyper personalized, and also do follow-ups, but get ghosted. So in that case, especially if you're an editor, firstly, I would go down to your service. Your service is probably too generic and too basic. There are millions of video editors offering the exact same service. So why should someone even get a free edit from you? Faraz, you need to make sure that your service stands out. You need to develop a USP where someone will see your service and go, he's different to everybody else because of XYZ reason. He's unique. Like, a very easy one for a video editor is like, don't just learn video editing, but learn like the algorithm, learn strategy, learn how to apply the videos and how to actually grow as a result. So there's a lot that you can do, but if you have a basic service of just video editing, firstly, it's not results producing, so no one cares for it. And secondly, it's the same as everybody else's. Cool, booked finally. I might put my savings in this thing. Amazing. How do you build a prospect list? Do you want to take this away, Marcus?
Yeah. So, I mean, it's again quite self-explanatory, right? You want to start with a Google sheet, an Excel sheet, whatever that is for you, and you just want the information that matters the most about your prospect. So for me, it would have been things like name, it would have been things like Instagram handle, and it would have been like personalized note, and then a checklist of have I sent them a message, have I followed up with them, etc. But that's all you really need, and like is like the thing you're going to reach out to them on, a personalized note or message on them if you're doing it personalized, their first name, and maybe like their phone number or company address or something like that.
100%. Okay, amazing. Let me go through some of the good questions because some of them are repeated or we've already answered them. So in terms of outreach, your process is like this: IG reply opener, ask for permission, send Loom. Yeah, that's literally it.
Yeah,
That is literally it.
that's it. That exactly there.
It is simpler than you think. When can I see the recording of this webinar? You'll have it sent to you. Another cool so far. Just wondering that eventually, once you get those 5 to 10 clients, is this scalable even after outsourcing? Would you recommend something else after that? Digital products? What would you do? I'm not really sure what you mean. You can scale a service-based business as much as you want. Like you just have to grow internally, right? So if you get 5, 10 clients and you want to grow, you don't then pivot to another business model. You grow the actual business that you have. You start to hire, you start to build a team, you start to delegate, you start to focus on high leverage tasks. So there is no point where you get to a point of your business where you're like, it's too big now. I'm going to move on to something else. What is more powerful offer? Is it product description for 2K with all the copy on a product page or landing page? I'm not entirely sure what you mean. Well, I mean, I'm assuming it's going to be the copy or on a product page or landing. I actually have no idea what you mean. Let me go through. Yeah, we're going through a lot of the same questions because people sending me in loads because we had a lot of questions at the start. Let me go through them. What's the best funnel to get to closing a client? If the DM outreach is successful, is it worth sending questionnaire surveys? To be honest, we just went with a straight booking a call funnel, where it's a funnel, VSL on the front, button to click, and then booking a call from there. That was literally, and that worked for us. As you grow, you can definitely test different funnels and stuff like that. But getting started, there's no reason to go with what works, go with the basics, and then you can expand from there. What are your copywriter before entering the Skill to Profit program? What was your level skill before joining on a scale of 1 to 10?
I'd say maybe 5, 4, 5. Like I said in like my story as well, I had like 1 or 2 clients that didn't go very well because I wasn't a great copywriter. But yeah, I'd say like 4-ish, 5, and now I'd say maybe like 7-ish. Still much room to grow though.
100%. Amazing. You go through thoughts on rev share when dealing with the trade industry clients. They don't necessarily share with you whether they have secured the job, as most of the time it's just lead forms filled out. So you'll just need to provide a process in which you can easily track the jobs that they get through, where it's not just on paper. You have to give them something where they can track it a bit easier, if you know what I mean. General thoughts for rev share structures as a freelancer. So to be honest, like you just want to make sure that what you're providing or what you're charging is a fraction of what you're producing, right? So with Marcus, he charged 15% revenue share, which basically meant that for the client he's working with, 85% of what they actually make is theirs, it's their profit. So it's like, if you're making someone $10,000 that they didn't previously have, you can easily charge 20% of that because you're making them an extra $8,000, right? So you can kind of go as high as you want. I would keep increasing your revenue share until you get to a point of where most people are saying, no, it's too much. And then that's a tell for you. Okay, cool, that's too much. I'll go down a little bit, but you've got to keep testing and trying and testing and trying until you find one that's like just outside your comfort zone. It's just high enough, but it's not too high to where people are saying no all the time and you're getting no one. Can any of the methods used work in the hospitality industry? 100%. We have quite a few people working in the hospitality industry, actually. It most definitely can. Marcus, is that your brother?
That is my brother, yeah.
Amazing. Do people with budgets below 1K automatically get redirected to Kaizen Connected? I remember you'd offer a call to everyone back in your previous webinar. So we do offer a call to everyone who is financially qualified because we want to do the call with you, but we want to make sure that we're not going to do the call, get to the end of the call, and then you're like, I can't afford this anyway, right? Because it's a waste of your time because we can't provide the next steps for you, and it's a waste of our time. So we make sure that you're financially qualified before. When you are, then we can go ahead and actually suggest the right next steps. If you aren't financially qualified, it's absolutely fine. There's just lower level resources that you can dive onto for now from YouTube, Kaizen Connected, and a few kind of lower ticket products. Right, we're kind of coming to the end. Last quarter, I think. How do you automate the emails and how did you refine your messaging to get clients to respond over email? Go for it, Marcus.
Yeah, so obviously automating, we did on Instantly for the software sending, that kind of thing. And then in terms of just refining the process, it's just a constant iteration of looking at the data that Instantly gives you. There's other softwares out there like Lemlist, for example, and kind of just looking at, okay, what response rate did we get, etc. Is this working? For example, I did like I don't know if you remember that, the really bold email I did where it was like, I started my email by being like, your program isn't as good as it should be. And it got a super high open rate, but not a great response rate. And we thought it would be the other way around. And then I flipped it and I got one which had a much lower open rate, but a much higher response rate, something like 8%. In the end. So yeah, it just depends on like constantly testing things, constantly iterating different ideas, split testing them. and kind of treating it like one big scientific experiment rather than I'm doing my outreach. It's like I'm doing this big experiment to see if this will work.
100%. Yeah, it's just a game of tweaking and improving. You kind of just play the game. Like that's literally it. You do something, you see what you get back, and then you make another, kind of guess on what you think will work better, and you see what you get back. Lena, can you tell us all about the one-to-one side, the inner circle? Yeah, so the way the one-to-one works is that you basically have a private one-to-one chat with me, with Zach, our customer success manager, Joe, our content coach, and Jaime, our sales coach. And it's just with us. So basically, you and Ollie, our outreach coach. So you can ask us any questions. Very, very, very rarely will it take us more than an hour to get back to you with an answer to your question, as long as obviously it's not midnight, our time, or it's some random times. So you will have kind of almost constant support via the one-to-one. I mean, I'm on it most all day, every day, pretty much. I've always got it open. So whenever someone asks a question, I'm responding. In terms of the actual one-to-ones, I mean, you get calls with me when you're an inner circle member, whenever you want. You can book in calls whenever you want. It's kind of as long as you have stuff to go through that I can help you with, then we can jump on a call. A lot of stuff can be answered via Discord and stuff like that. So if it can be answered via text, there's no need to jump on a call. If you need to jump on a call, the link's always there to book it in. No questions asked, So there's a lot that you can do, and you always have constant support. And not only that, but the community is also fantastic. There's a lot of people in there that just love helping each other. How do you guys plan on scaling from now? And what would you say is the right time to hire people to build a team? So in terms of kind of getting to the next level from where we're at now, it's a lot more of what's already working and just doing it to a higher level. Bear in mind, we condensed all of the action that we took into a very, very small time frame, which means that now the time frame kind of doesn't exist anymore. We can kind of not relax a little bit more, but we can look at stuff from a more like top-down view and look at, okay, cool, what can we do in order to scale from here? But a lot of it is just doing exactly what he's already doing. But now he's got clients, he can leverage those clients, he can make content about the results that he's already got. Marcus now has people coming to him that initially, when he had his first sales call with them, they were like, no chance. But now they're coming to him and saying, okay, let's have a conversation about it. Let's see what we can do. So again, a lot of it is just doing what already worked, but just kind of being more efficient with what we're doing and doing it to a higher level. Because that's it. There's no secret hack. Like, of course, you get to the next level and you can start doing ads and stuff, but that's not relevant right now. What's the best way to, and is it possible to learn a high income skill if you haven't got the money to invest? Of course it is. Search it up. Search up how to learn this skill. If you search up something like how to learn copywriting, you're going to find thousands of hours online of copywriting content, and you can go through that and you can get to an incredibly competent level with free information as it is. We inside the inner circle help you condense that information into a more kind of like direct result. So it's not just consuming and sitting back and chilling for a bit. It's consuming and taking action, and that's how you actually get results. In the previous Skill to Profit 10K per month challenge, you mentioned you monetize community building. Would you be able to be a bit clearer on what your value proposition was? So I'm a young approach for electronic music. So I worked with crypto companies to help them take their audience and put their audience into a community in which they could then sell things to. So it's like, if I have a following of 10,000 people and I'm a crypto company, the only way I can reach my following is through posting and stuff like that, right? But it's not very one-to-one, it's not very personal. So I help them create a community where they could contain their following and then talk to them, sell them things, update them, really have a core community. And that core community then bought more stuff because they felt more like a community. That was basically the service. On offer design, in your framework, how do you decide between offering a done with you service versus done for you service? You can have both. There is no reason why you can't have both. As long as you can deliver both, you can have both options, and people can just choose what they want. How do you deal with setbacks and doubts, and how can you turn email marketing and Facebook, Instagram ads into a profitable business? Marcus, do you want to go on the setback and doubts?
Yeah, so I think for me, again, like I've said quite continuously throughout the Q&A, is like I have the setbacks and doubts. I have felt rubbish at times throughout the speedrun. I mean, I'm sure you guys can imagine it was a lot of pressure to come on here and have everyone in Callum's audience see what I was doing every single day. But the only way that you can kind of kill those doubts is to just keep working every single day, to just keep going at it, to keep pushing, to basically outwork the self-doubt. And I used to never believe in that concept, but it is true. The more you work, the more you practice, the more that you build kind of self-trust, knowing that every single day you're doing the right inputs. Because I guarantee if you hit your 30 outreaches every single day, you will sign a client like I did, or your 50 outreaches or whatever. So if you can build that self-trust, knowing that you're doing the right inputs day in, day out, you'll overcome that doubt like relatively quickly. And then as soon as you sign a client, 90% of it evaporates because you know that you can now make money online.
100%. Yeah, solid. Is it possible for me to do the same web design? Of course it is. It's the same process. You have the skill, you find a market that desperately needs it, you identify a result that you can actually provide to these people, more of like a tangible result. Website design is it's an interesting one because it doesn't really provide a result necessarily, but you can tweak it and twist it in a way that it does provide a result. So you can do funnel building, for example, which is creating a website that helps people sell more things. So you just got to be smart with it. Again, following the same framework. Um, uh, go through some of these. Hey, Marcus, I heard you say something about free work. How did you go about that? And how did you manage the client and the amount of work that you did before expected payment? So Marcus didn't do any free work. Um, there was no free work he did. He just charged in a way where the person who he was working with couldn't lose. You know, that was literally it. So it was, hey, pay me this. If I don't make you that back, I'll pay you back the money. That was literally it. And it becomes a no-brainer offer. So he didn't work for free. He just worked in a very, very smart way and priced in a smart way. Let me go through. What problems do you identify about your target audience? Marcus, you got an interesting one from this.
Sorry, can you repeat that question, bro?
The problems that you identified of your target audience, because you did, and then you just kind of went to less so problems, more about they just want to make money.
Yeah, so like I've been taught, and like, we've kind of seen throughout the online spaces that it's all about solving problems, right? And that's something that you'll teach your students a lot of. And it is very much true. But we quickly realize that if you're targeting somebody that is already making a lot of money, their problem is generally that they aren't making as much money as they'd like to make. They've had the base needs satisfied in life, they're making decent money, but they just want a way to make more money and do it easier. So I guess in a sense that is their problem. And so we realized very quickly that if I spoke to that instead of speaking to moving away from pain points for my specific audience, I want to preface that, for my specific offer, if we spoke to more the kind of idea of making more money and doing it in an easier way, it definitely helped out a lot in terms of the responses.
100%. Who gave your feedback to iterate and improve on and sharpen your skill? Because I'm guessing that as a beginner, it's hard to learn from your own mistakes if you're not aware of them. That's why you find people. You know, I worked with Marcus every day, so a lot of it was me telling him if there was something shit, if there was something good. But also he could also teach himself just through practice and repetition, and just improving bit by bit over time. How does someone that has a background in playing sport to a high level and degree in sports science turn that? I mean, you can teach people stuff, right, Travis? You can teach people your knowledge and what you know, and that can be monetized. So your skill may not like directly be the actual playing of the sport, but it may be the information and the experience that you've gathered from playing the sport. We have a guy in the inner circle who his name's Charlie. He works with young footballers. I'm going to have to try and remember how to explain this. He works with young footballers who are like academy players, and that was his entire business. So he would work with them and train them and give them like diet plans and stuff like that. Now we've taken him online, so instead of working with them in person, he now sells online programs and courses to young footballers who want to improve their their ability and optimize their performance and stuff like that. And he's making a lot of money from it. So even if you have a physical skill where you think it's physical, you think it has to be in person, you can turn that into digital. You just got to take the information that you have, package it in the right way, and then you do the exact same thing: skill, market, offer, and then you advertise. Cool. At what point did you realize you were ready to start outreaching to clients? So for Marcus, it was just when he was competent enough, and when we just got that to that level, that was literally it. I've done the form 2 times already. I'm getting rooted to Kaizen connected. Is that where the form should go? So no, if you're getting rooted to Kaizen connected, it just means you're not financially qualified. So we're just trying to provide you something that's more suited to your budget. That's it. Where are the calls to one-to-one markers? When will we get it? So you get it inside the program, inside the inner circle. Hi, Callum. Could you recommend some material I could watch to be able to find my skill? Go to my YouTube channel, scroll through my videos, and I have videos on there literally saying how to find your own high income skill. That's where you can start. When you're going for personalized outreach, what did you look for personalization, Marcus?
Yeah, so just I think the basic things are saying their name and then saying something like a compliment, but not making it sound generic, right? So not making it sound like, oh, hey Callum, or if I was outreaching to Callum, for example, hey Callum, I love your videos, right? Anyone could say that, but making it more specific in the sense that it would be like, hey Callum, I saw the speed run that you did with Marcus. That's super impressive, and it's really inspired me to go ahead and do something myself. That being said, X, Y, or Z, that's what you put your offer, etc. And that obviously that's going to be dependent on my industry because we're targeting coaches. But you'd obviously say that in a completely different way if you were targeting maybe a local business. But the same kind of idea applies.
Amazing. Can I set up my personal Instagram account as a business account where I can outreach prospects? 100%.
Yep.
Let's go through. How many calls do we get of you in a circle? Some programs just have a few calls of owners of the program, they disappear. So I think, like I said earlier, I think you asked this question before that. You jump on an onboarding call with me where we go through your game plan, dissect everything, map it all out, and then you can book in a call on a need basis, which is like, as long as you have shit to go through, we can go through. I don't let people book in a call if they're like about the weather, because that was obviously a waste of time for both of us. Can you hear me okay?
Yep.
I think I just knocked my mic. So yeah, as long as you have stuff to go through, unlimited calls. But obviously, we want to be efficient in a way where it's like you jump on a call, I give you weeks worth of things to do, so you don't have to jump on another call because calls are actually, in my head anyway, quite a big waste of time unless you have a very strict plan that you're going to go through. A lot of stuff can be answered through messages and stuff like this. I need help with landing my first client, and I can use a revenue generator to pay for the inner circle. If it's really guaranteed, I'm ready to pay extra too. Is ready to structure the payment in a way where I can pay after my first deal closed? Unfortunately, not. Just because if everyone does that, then it's not a very successful business. But not only that, but when you pay for something, you put an emotional commitment forward. You know, you are fully in on it. So unfortunately, we can't do it in a way where it's like join for free and then pay after your first client. But there are payment plans and stuff like that that you can grab onto. With local businesses. Going through. So I'm a video editor. I'm not exactly sure how I can apply that to creating a business, except for freelance editing, which is not exactly a business. You use the exact framework we've just been through. It's literally here. Don't overcomplicate it. You have your skill. Find a market. Like I guarantee if I said to you, Mac, you're a video editor, who do you serve? You would go, I have no idea. Anyone. That's your problem. So find a market. Develop an actual transformational service, not just video editing, but what are you looking to do with the video editing? What's the outcome you're looking to help them achieve? That's what you double down on. Marcus, can you share your business Instagram handle? Marcus, can you put your business Instagram handle in the chat for us, please? Thank you. I have my skill of ghostwriting, similar to Marcus, but I'm offering educational email courses, email and social ghostwriting as well as a VSL. Way too broad. Narrow down your offer 100%. You want to create an offer that delivers a transformation. If I said to you, Anred, what is your transformation? You would say, I have no idea, no clue, because you don't have one. So focus on one outcome, one service you're trying to achieve, or one service you're trying to sell, and one outcome you're trying to deliver. Go through. So I think I answered your question, Archie. Sorry, we're so behind. So many questions got asked straight away. So we're just kind of going through them now. Will a recording be available for tonight's event? Yes, it will. We'll send that over. Can you give a range on inner circle costs so I can save that much up? So it's between $3,000 and $4,000. But of course, there's payment plans, there's financing. So that can get cut down quite a lot. Sorry, I'm just going through them. What's the ideal market if you've been running a lead generation agency for local companies? How do you scale that or at least get into a better market for ads? So I would look at what markets is profitable, what market you understand, and what market can't live without your service. And what market cannot live without the service of lead generation. You double down on that. And of course, which market makes a lot of money from their leads and from their sales, because then you can charge more per lead. Difference between 247 program and a one-on-one program. So Kaizen Connected is just pre-recorded material. That's it. There's no direct one-on-one support. It's more like a digital product. Like you can have it. That's all yours. You can go through it. There's like 10 hours worth of content there. And that's literally it. Um, how do you guys plan on scaling from now? I've done that one. Sorry, I was so far behind. Um, are you going to still work together? That's a good question. I mean, Marcus and I feel like we've just developed a bit of friendship now as well. After being on over 40 calls with him, it's hard to just kick him out. We haven't even finished a 90-day challenge, actually. We've still got, I think, like 10 days left, something like that.
That is right. Yeah. Actually, I think it's more than that, more than 15-ish.
Oh, 15 days left. So that's like to finish 90 days. And obviously, we're trying to maximize cash within those 90 days. But going forward, like, it's just going to be a friendship more than anything. I'll help Marcus where he needs. And I'm sure I'll work with him on future endeavors. Right. What's the best way to build a network? Join a network.
Yeah.
Don't have to build one, just join one. Find one that you like the idea of, find one that you like the message of, the meaning of. Join that. Which niche do you think is the best to sell AI voice agents to, like a receptionist and except a local business? Again, you've got to go through the basics here. Like I just can't give you an answer. It's just like, oh, this is the one and done. Think about what markets need your service the most, which markets will pay the most amount of money for it because they benefit the most of it, and which markets cannot live without it. Hey, Marcus, how many hours did you work each day to reach 10K?
I'd say on average a good 6 to 8 hours a day.
You were a busy boy. But that's what
Yeah.
happens. I mean, if you want to achieve a result like that in 71 days, bear in mind that's like that's over a six-figure a year business. You've got to work quite a lot. That's why most people don't do it in 71 days. It will take them, a good couple months, 3, 4, 5 months, and that's absolutely fine. How do you do the legal stuff like contracts and such when you're starting out? Don't worry about it too much. A lot of people stress about all the legal stuff. Like, very simply, use ChatGPT. Like, our ChatGPT draw you up a contract, and that's kind of the basics. And as you scale and you get more clients, and it's more kind of it's more, I suppose, like you need like proper legal advice, then you go to a solicitor. They can help you out with stuff like that. So can you guide on how we can turn email marketing and Facebook, Instagram ads into a profitable business? So we've just gone through all of this. I used a framework we've gone through. You like asking that question of how do I turn my skill into a business? What have you been doing here? Have you been listening? That's exactly what we've been talking about. You go for a skill, you identify the market, you build a service around it, you build a result, you identify a result. I want to help them achieve this. And you do your outreach. Like I said, my questions, how to prepare for manage sales calls. When would you guys say is the right time to start building a team around you and your business? It's kind of when you start having tasks that you need to complete that are very low leverage, like tasks that don't necessarily help, they don't necessarily need you, but they need to be completed, right? And that's when you start hiring people like to source leads. Like sourcing leads, it's a decent leverage task, but it doesn't need to be you. And of course, when you actually have the capabilities and the money to do it, that's when I would start hiring people. And when you are limited by what you can do because you got your fingers in so many pies, you outsource. Do you know anyone doing TikTok shops for businesses? Should this be totally doable? I think. Would you specialize in one type of companies? I'm not. Yeah, we have someone in the circle who does that, but he teaches other people how to do TikTok shops. So it's not necessarily that directly, but that whole skill set, that whole market does work. Marcus only has 6 posts about his business. Go to the Reels tab. Right. I think we're kind of getting to the end. Right. Amazing. We've got to the end. Who should use Kaizen Connected and who should use in a circle? If you're starting from very, very ground zero and you don't have the capital to invest, go to Kaizen Connected. If you do, go to Inner Circle. How do you ideate your content and how did you make scripts?
Yeah, so I had like a nice Notion planner, right? And it's just like, okay, I'm going to do my content here and here and here. And what I'd do is I'd have like a nice swipe file where every time I saw a video of someone that was doing well, I'd take it down, I'd note it down, and then I'd pick that apart. Actually, it's a method that Callum taught me, right? Is find your favorite content creators. Let's get like 5 of them, and then take parts from each of them, and then combine your own kind of set. And that would give you all the ideas you really need because you're taking from all these other people in your niche. And then for the scripts, again, I'm a copywriter. It just comes down to writing, learning about the framework of a content, obviously from all the course content that Callum gave me as well, that really helped inside of the Inner Circle. So yeah, it just comes down to taking information from other people and actually going and implementing that properly. And and practicing that same scripting thing over and over and over again every day.
Amazing. Cool, guys. We've kind of come to the end of the questions now. So we're kind of going, this is your last chance to apply. And again, there's still a lot of you in here. Like there's still well over 100 people in here. So if you're in here and you're kind of still on the fence, you're not too sure, there is nothing you lose from applying and trying to book in a call. If you can't book in a call, it's absolutely fine. It just means you're not financially qualified based on, we don't want to waste your time on a call if we can't actually provide you with the resources you need. So if you haven't yet booked in a call, or if you haven't yet filled out the form, go fill it out. There's nothing you lose. Jump on a call with a member of our team. It's more like a consulting call, asking, like you said, where you're at, where you want to get to, what's stopping you, what you're doing, all this kind of stuff. And then we help you fill the gap. That is the whole goal. And if we can provide the support to help you fill that gap, we'll tell you what our next steps are and where, what it will cost to join, all this kind of stuff. If not, no stress. We'll leave you with some next steps of where you can go. Where can you find the recording of this? Again, it'll be sent to you. It'll be sent your way. Marcus, how worth were the videos in the Inner Circle for when I cannot even read that? Worth for you? Were they more of a course?
Making of what I kind of that question, the videos were extremely helpful. Like I said, that idea, I've just given you guys a free idea from the Inner Circle, was taking all the different ideas from other creators and then bandaging it into your own kind of method for content creation. That's one method that I got from Callum's Inner Circle course content. And there was hundreds of them. I mean, I wouldn't have been able to script a piece of content if I didn't watch Callum's courses. I wouldn't have been able to make an outreach like script if I didn't have Callum's course. So the whole business was founded upon the Inner Circle training, to be honest.
But I think Marcus can kind of like, quote for this when I say that it's more of like a library of content. Like it's not like you have to go through step by step, but like you get to the point of where you're like, right, I need to do outreach. How do I do this? Okay, cool. I'll dive into the outreach side of things. I need to focus on content. How do I do this? I'll dive into the content side of things. Ross, you're very welcome. Ross, if you're in the Inner Circle, if you want to kind of give some words, if you feel like it, and just how you found the Inner Circle, completely open and transparent. If you haven't left yet, go for it. But if not, again, yeah, it's more of like a library of content, that is literally it. Cool. We'll leave it there then. Marcus, any final words?
Yeah, I think, like I told you guys before, I mean, I was on a call with Callum's team around a year ago. I didn't end up joining because I was so scared of what that could look like. I was scared of succeeding, of actually achieving the result, and I was scared of not succeeding. I was scared of everything. I didn't know what had happened, right? And I never ended up pulling the plug. And imagine if I'd done that, because these exact frameworks helped me make a 10K month business then, and I could have made a 10K month business a year ago. And that doubt, I just let it consume me. And relatively in the time, whatever the investment now is for the Inner Circle, it's going to be nothing compared to the skill that you're going to make. And high leverage people that they become high leverage business owners, they don't just sit around and wait, they just act. And that's what I've realized. And I've learned from Callum, and I've learned from Ollie, the outreach coach, and I've learned from Charlie, the automations coach. And I've learned all these different things from all these different people inside the programs that I've been in, is that you just need to take action. And I do say that, with the best intentions, in that it will get you so far if you just shut your brain off, stop being scared, and take action into whatever that may look like.
Amazing, man. I appreciate it. Sorry, Ross. I thought you were Ross Wilkinson. He's in the circle. Very similar name. Amazing. Well, we're gonna leave it there. Appreciate you all showing up again. Hopefully you got something valuable out of this, even if it's not the right next step for you to book in a call and get in the kind of ecosystem of joining the Inner Circle. But nonetheless, that was Marcus's story. And again, Marcus has been like insane in terms of like being a student, right? Because I could have got incredibly unlucky. I could have picked someone who didn't show up to the calls and didn't do the work and couldn't be asked, all that kind of stuff. I got incredibly lucky, because I wouldn't be able to do it if Marcus didn't have the mindset that actually backed him and allowed him to take the action. So it's a joint effort at the end of the day. But hopefully you guys got some takeaways from that, from his story, from how he did what he did. Any further questions? Again, if you fill out the form, a member of our team will be in touch. You can ask some questions there. But if not, we will, maybe we'll run it back. Who knows? We'll see.